Make it so.
Victory!
Shepard.
Everybody got a right to be what you wanna be. God motherfucking damn. Right on. Right on, dude. God motherfucking damn. There's only two type of people in the world, good and bad. God motherfucking damn.
How you doing? Don't ask, because I don't know. Alright. Hi, it's me. What up, Duck? How you guys doing? Like I was saying in the chat, I've had a day. And it's I haven't been awake for very long, but it's been a day. How's your back? Not great. But we'll get into that. It's hot, and it's ready. By it, I mean me. Still attached? It's still there. Wait. Yeah, it's still there. Oh my goodness gracious. How you guys doing? Yeah, so. So I turn on to computer today, No. It was this morning. Early in the morning, we had issues. Crazy, we watched that meme. I will open that meme and we will watch it in a bit. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it was early in the morning, and suddenly our internet went out. And by early in the morning, I mean like pitch black, like we're still awake from the previous night. And the internet goes out. Like, oh, that's weird. And it doesn't come back for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. Like, what the fuck's going on? So I go and I reset the modem. And after a nice little reset, it comes back. Everything works fine. Like, okay, great. Second part of the story. Don't worry, the third part, the conclusion, they will both come together. But the second part, I wake up this morning and I see that there's been some announcements, right? There's been some Game Award announcements or whatever. That's not good. And I see that there was there's going to be a thing for Alan Wake 2, and it's out today. Right? So I'm like, oh man, maybe I should play that. Here, I'll go download Alan Wake. And then I go and open up Steam, and I'm like, Alan Wake 2. Wait, I don't own Alan Wake 2 on Steam. Wait a minute, I own it on Epic Games. So I go and I try to open up the Epic Game Launcher, and I log in. Everything's fine. I log in. I see that I'm logged in. I see my little icon in the top that says, hey, you're logged in. I see my stuff. And then literally 2 seconds pass, and then it goes, boop. Sorry, you're having connectivity issues. Could you resolve that before we let you look at anything that we literally have access to right now? Sorry, what? Yeah, you're having connectivity issues. No, I'm not. I'm connected to the internet. I'm watching stupid meme videos right now. No, you're having connectivity issues. Before you can look at anything on your account, you have to resolve that. Uh-huh. So I spent like the last hour and a half being connected to the internet and it not working. And that's not the only issue I've had. No. Epic Games is broken, but also when I try to launch my speed test app, just test how fast my internet's going, it crashes immediately. Hello, Mackie. Hello, Mickey. Oh. And also, when I tried to open OBS and Sammy was the program that runs like the background when we go to this thing, the colors, right? When I tried to open that up, it said, hey, I can't connect to your OBS. What? And look, and my IP has changed. My IP address has changed. Fucking, what? It's using a different port and shit? So some shenanigans are going on. And I'm gonna have to figure that out. And hopefully it seems everything's running fine. We're running at the proper bit rate. We haven't dropped any frames. So I was very afraid that we wouldn't be able to get this stream going, but we are, so that's good. The name used to be Mackie Moose, so close enough. Nice. How's that song go? My mother makes me want to marry Mac. Make mother. You want to get her up back? You better get her up early. Oh God. Mary Mac's mother making me want to marry Mary Mac. My mother makes me want to marry Mary Mac. Oh God. Gonna marry Mary. She's gonna take care of me. Oh God. Oh, we'll all be feeling better when you marry Mary Mac. Oh God, that was awful. I'm so sorry. Did I watch any of the summer games? I saw some of the announcements. I saw, like, I was just talking about the Alan Wake 2 thing where I was like, hey, maybe I should download that. And then hell broke loose. You're so confused? There's a song called Mary Mac. Right? It's basically about, like, a guy marrying a lady and being, like, pushed into it by his mother, and they're, like, arranging the marriage, that sort of thing. Which, it's, if I had a nickel for every time I heard, like, an Irish pop song that talked about people marrying each other, but not wanting to marry each other, I'd have 2 nickels. Which is not a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Anyway. Yeah, no, I heard about that. I saw the trailer for the Lego Horizon, which is a weird concept because isn't there only like 2 games? And isn't like one of the big draw premises of like the Lego games, like the various characters you can play as? How many named, like, interesting, distinct characters are there in Horizon? The new Atlas game, Metaphor? Oh yeah, we've seen some stuff on that. Is there like a new trailer? New Metaphor game, yeah. Not Persona. It's very much not Persona. They're streaming great. Oh, they're doing it? It's live? It's live? Summer Games stream. On the Atlas channel? Fuck. Atlas stream channel. Oh god, the players they're incentivized to adapt.
The squad battle is a turn-based battle system adopted from Shin Megami Tensei 3.
What game
In
is
this
that?
system,
Wait, 3!
the number of
Hold
actions
on, go
per
back.
turn is determined by the number of party.
Wait a minute.
The squad battle is a turn-based battle system adopted from Shin Megami Tensei 3. In this system, the number of actions per turn is determined by the number of party members, and the number of actions increases if the enemy's
That's
weak
my
points are
game! That's my
exploited.
favorite game!
So, strategize your next move wisely. You can eliminate enemies unilaterally without giving them a turn. However, this system is a double-edged sword.
Yeah, this
since
system
this
kicks
also
your
applies
ass.
for the opponent. If enemy attacks exploit your party's weaknesses, then your party's turn may not come for a while, leading to challenging battles.
Oh, it's so visually.
Metaphor is an evolution of our
pleasing.
command battle system that has been cultivated over the years,
Yeah,
and its
press turn
innovative
system.
archetype system is unique to this title.
Yeah.
I think we're in the clear.
In command
Oh,
battles,
they're British.
players can change the party formation
What's
front
that
and
cat
back,
looking motherfucker?
and
You
each
got a squirrel
archetype has
on
its
your team?
optimal position of strength.
Oh yeah, you pick
For
front
example,
or back.
the mage can cast magic from the back row to compensate for its weak point, low defense, to some extent, maintaining its attack
The
power.
mage.
To safer ground.
The knight can withhold its attacks and attract enemy attacks from the back
You
row,
can tank,
and
okay.
therefore induce enemy attacks with minimal damage.
Wait a minute though. Look at that goblin. Look at that little goblin guy.
The gunner, who can use shooting,
The
is an
gunner.
archetype
The
that
rabbit's the
specializes
gunner.
in long-range attacks from the back row. The commander can change the formation of all members with its skills, allowing each player to freely create their own strategy.
I shall fight as the noble I am.
There is a special technique called synthesis that differs from normal skills. Synthesis, which means integration in psychological
Orc-Strahd
terms,
Carnage.
is a system that allows archetypes to combine with other party members' archetypes. It can activate a special technique that is not available otherwise. To perform this skill, it consumes more than a normal action, as it consumes an additional action from your ally's turn as well.
Oh, okay.
This technique is more powerful for that reason.
We got
For
Hama. We
example,
got the Agi.
while a
Bufu
mage
in
and
there.
healer can only target a single enemy with their attack,
Hama.
with the use of synthesis, the target can be changed to all enemies. The Seeker's main attack is wind magic. But by using synthesis, the Seeker can use attacks with attributes that are normally unavailable to it, such as light or strike. In addition,
Bam.
warriors are good at physical attacks. But if many of the same archetype are placed in a party, the attack characteristics will naturally be skewed. However, the special synthesis attack that can be unleashed by 3 warriors can do a surprising amount of damage even in the early stages of the game. This
Pretty
system is an
neat.
important element
I
of the
saw that.
strategy.
It was Medica
And
or
if used
something.
properly,
Yeah.
it can eliminate the enemies all at once. The activation conditions change depending on the combination of the party, so it is a fun element to try out different
So they have the
configurations
the
and discover new
Is
synthesis
this one of those
combinations.
fucking Fate games?
Moreover, the development team has worked hard to ensure that the diverse range of archetypes remains engaging even in the later stages, allowing players to enjoy different
Did I see
compositions.
Magatsui?
We aimed for a balance to avoid a situation where players' party compositions become similar as the game progresses, or where only certain archetypes are used. When players change from one archetype to another, they can inherit the skills they have already mastered to the new archetype.
They become Persona.
The command battle system not only includes action count strategies, but also formation tactics, special moves called synthesis, and a skill inheritance system.
There's a class called
providing
Faker?
numerous
What
ways
does
to
that do?
creatively configure
I
archetype
found you,
strategies in the party.
Faker.
While the party consists of 4 members initially, it can expand to 7 as the story progresses.
7?
All members can equip any of the 40-plus archetypes, so we hope players
40?
enjoy
Okay.
developing their unique strategies.
Use what I must. Rancor!
Now that we have explained how to use archetypes in command battles, let's discuss how archetypes' abilities come into play in other ways. Weapons.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, this seems cool. This seems cool. You guys can check out the whole thing. I don't know if I want to sit here and watch the whole thing. It's really cool, but one of those things where it's like I kind of want to like be surprised by it during. Anyway, that's neat. That's really funny. I went in there and it's like, do you like Shin Megami Tensei 3? And I'm like, you're talking to me? Oh no. Hi. It me. 40. Yeah, we got 40 dudes in there. I mean, like compared to like Persona or SMT where like you have like 100 demons to work through, but like I guess it's 40 and all 40 of them remain usable as opposed to like SMT and Persona where you're expected to sort of use something then ditch it for something else, right? It's not like Pokemon where you get a Bulbasaur and then you keep that Bulbasaur until level like 90. It evolves and gets stronger, but you know, same idea. Anyway, yeah, cool. 90. It depends on what game. There's like 1 or 2 Pokemon games where like end game is around 90. Most of them end games like what, like 40, 50, right? You get to the Elite Four around like level 40 maybe. But like there's one of them, I forget what it is. Is it gold and silver or something? One of them where you're like no, it expects you to be like at the end of the game. That's gold and silver? Yeah. Makes more sense, especially when you have like, oh, you just beat Johto, it's Kanto time, baby, and you gotta go do a whole nother region. Like, that makes sense. Probably will show up and he's level 70. Yeah. All right, so I've been dealing with the internet issues. So far, we seem to be pretty stable. Kanto time, I can't stand it. So we're gonna check out Cineri's video. Strap in, guys, it's a long one. Okay, you ready?
Playing football blind.
Anything's possible.
Anyway. Anything's possible when you believe in the power of friendship. That poor kid. He's doing his best. I feel like there would be some issues. I feel like there would be some issues with the whole being blind and playing football. Maybe he's like legally blind, but he can still kind of make out what's going on. I don't know. Why didn't you tell me that Ghost of Tsushima is just the better Assassin's Creed? I haven't played Ghost of Tsushima. I wanted to, but I missed out on it. I should play it at some time, but there's just so many games I'm playing right now. I got so much on my plate, guys. I was gonna play the new Alan Wake stuff, but my modem said no. Apparently that just came out today. All right. So, Alan Wake hater plays Alan Wake. Here's the thing: the fucking the funny little DLC packs seemed actually like entertaining because they weren't taking themselves super seriously. Like, hey, I'm gonna play as the crazy waitress with a shotgun, and the entire world's gonna be like, yeah, #1 waitress saves the world, yeah, bang bang, right? It seems like stupid and goofy. You get to play as what's her face from Control, like, yeah, no, that's sick. I'd much rather do that than like listen to Alan Wake jerk off in a room for 40 hours. Ugh. Okay, it wasn't 40 hours. It felt like 40 hours, though. Control, the game I got for free and never finished. Control is an excellent game, with the big problem being the RPG mechanics. Right? I feel like if that game just didn't have any like stats, if it just like was a shooter, it would be a much better game. If you didn't have to constantly like be swapping out gear and shit. We talked about this. We talked about this at great length. Anyway, I wanted to get it. Played Bravely Default, loved it, and then the sequel, the second came out, had Pastry Chef. Yes! Become the Pastry Chef. Defeat your foes with delicious confectionery goodness. Yeah, I think one of my bigger issues with Alan Wake 2, just Alan Wake in general, is just how long-winded it is for saying literally nothing. Right? It's Alan waxing poetic about how he can't get out of the dark room for like 20 hours. It's like, after hour 10, I'm like, let me guess. He was looking around frantically and there was no way out. Hey,
Agrens just subscribed. What up 21 love, what up 21 clap.
Thank you. Has it already been 3 months? Has it already been 3 months? I feel like you've been here forever. The sub confirmed it. Pretentious? Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. Depends on your perspective. Thank you, Agrens.
Stupid jellyfish.
Enjoy your sub, your emotes, your well-deserved emotes. No advertisements. Welcome in, dude. Yeah, we're just talking. We're shooting the shit. Having a good time. Shizo, you cast Fireball. Oh, that's fine. You know, but notice the title. So I wanted to get into this, and you wouldn't believe, you would not believe how hard it is to find this thing, because the guy who wrote it deleted it. But fortunately, Tahexmal on Reddit fortunately wrote down all the rules in that the person wrote down in a response to this, so like it's there and we can read them. So I'm gonna read that. Tahexballs. So I'll be able to read off of that, but the original is deleted. Why not a trace of the So I haven't read all of these, but I've read like the first few, and what a lot of people were saying, and I agree with, is this sounds like not only is the DM in the wrong, but the players actively are driving them to it. The players are actively driving them to insanity. So it is, this whole situation for them sucks. And they need to get out. A D&D wizard, but the pay for spells with years of life. Ooh, that'd be fun to like run, but it'd be mostly narrative more than anything, right? But that'd be a fun little thing to play through. Like at the beginning of the campaign, you're like a sprightly young lad, and by the end of it, you are the old wizened man, and it's been like a D&D month. Kind of like Sifu, yeah. Only in Sifu, that's because you keep dying. Whereas in D&D, hopefully you're not dying that much, otherwise it's a meat grinder game. Oof. But some people like that. Anyway, we're gonna read over these. Yeah, we were gonna read over these guys. So let's have a look at these. Let me zoom in. Let me enhance. Can I? There we go. A little better. Can I get rid of this side shit? Can I get rid of this garbage on the side? I don't think so. I think we're stuck with D&D horror stories. Player killed his whole party despite multiple warnings. I earned the title evilest DM worst game ever. But unfortunately, we're just gonna have to deal with that. So here we go. Can't read? Don't worry, I'll read it for you. Woo! I'm over here. So, yeah. Tahexmal. Not OP, but I wanted to read the thread, but all you could find a long-ass YouTube video, so I took pics of the video that had screen caps of the thread and copied the text. Figured I might as well post it here, and I appreciate that. Otherwise, I would have had to do the same thing. I would have had to open up a video, and we have to slowly go down while ignoring the content of the creator, which, you know, whatever. Yeah, like it feels like this is just everyone's fucked up. Anyway, so here we go. The 44 rules of D&D. Rule 1. Wait, I need music. Chat, we need music. Hold on. Hold on. This. The entrance of the glad fucking clown music. Yeah, you know what? That's not a bad idea. Mike. Mix. Let's go circus mix. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. All right. Just leave that kind of low in the background. That's better. All right. Oh man, it's too funky. All right. Rule 1. I'm timing turns. I don't give a fuck if it's unfair in your opinion because your spells are hard or you don't know what square to move to. You get 1 minute to know all the actions you want to take or I skip your turn. Now, on one hand, it is incredibly... Hey, Silverleaf. They are not the OP. They are not the OP. But they are a very helpful person indeed. On one hand, I'm going to turn this down even more. Actually, you know what? Hold on. I can... No, I can't. Hold on. I'm going to turn this down even more. Here we go. On one hand, it is very frustrating when you keep coming back around to the same people and they're like, what should I do? And they basically don't start thinking about the game until like their turn. But on the other hand, putting a timer is not that. This is gonna be the thing. This is gonna be the thing for like most of. This is gonna be the thing for the most of these. Is blank is not the answer. In-game punishment for out-of-game behavior is never the answer. Don't do it. Yeah, in-game punishment for an out-of-game behavior will just lead to resentment, and it will not solve the problem. Can I be the OP? You don't want to be the OP. These are bad rules. You can be the OG. You can be the original gangsta. We appreciate you. Anyway, things can happen. There's no need to actively like put the timer down every turn, be like flipping that little hourglass every time someone's turn starts. That's really fucky. And for the most part, this is solved by saying, hey guys, I would like to keep the game going. The longer you guys take on your turns, the more likely everyone is to check out. So all I ask is that you keep that in mind and you try to expedite your turns as quickly as possible. Right? Don't meander, like try to keep your thoughts, keep it in your head. I'm not gonna police you, but please like keep it going, right? OG Sylvie, yeah! Rule 2, if you want harder fights, bring a second character sheet and expect to twiddle your thumbs when you die. I am not going to baby anyone. So this one doesn't read very easily, right? If you want harder fights, right? So if I wanted harder fights, I should bring a second character sheet. Are you going to make it harder if I bring more paper? Or are you saying that it's going to be harder and I should bring a second character sheet? Like, this is unclear. Basically, I guess they're saying it's going to be hard. It's going to be a meat grinder game. But some people like meat grinder games, right? Some people like I'm going to bring like 3 character sheets. We're going to try and get through this dungeon, and I'm going to lose guys, and that's fine, right? But expectations are important, right? As someone who gets really into D&D when I play, I still think this is terrible because sometimes it takes longer than a minute to calculate the exact play I want. For newer players, it's probably be miserable. Oh no, absolutely. You should not time. Absolutely, you should not time people's turns, right? This is only like basically when you talk about expediting turns, it should be, hey, we've been playing these same characters for like 6 months. You should not be still asking me how sneak attack works. You shouldn't be like, oh man, what spells do I have? And you're a fucking like warlock with like 5 spells. Like, come on, people, please. I think this is actually part of the problem with spellcasters in D&D. One of the problems is they end up with a lot of spells, a lot of options, and they spend more time looking at their sheet than engaging with characters in the game. Because I do that, right? If I play a spellcaster, I'm like, okay, I have like 20 things I can do, and I have to keep them all in the forefront of my mind, because if the situation comes up and I can use this, I want to use it, right? Versus like the fighter who's like, sword, right? So yeah. But as a spellcaster, it's like infinitely, there's more going on. Like, no, absolutely. Like there are exceptions, but it is frustrating when it's okay. So here's part of the issue is, from the DM's perspective, the DM is working on Dungeons and Dragons, working on the game outside of the game. They have to think about it for a few hours at least every week if they're doing like weekly, or every like couple weeks if they're doing like twice a month, right? However many times, but they have to think of it outside the game. The players don't have to often. Oftentimes they will not think about D&D, come to the table, and they won't think about D&D for the first like 30 minutes of the game. They're just gonna be like there, and then eventually they'll get into it and they'll have a great time. They'll have so much fun, and then we get to the end of the game of that session, and they'll be like, wow, that was awesome. Where am I? What was I doing? And they'll turn back into their normal selves, and they won't think about D&D until the next session. And so they completely forget everything that they just like internalized because they didn't properly internalize it. So, hey, I learned Fireball's great to use in this situation, and I shouldn't use it in this tiny room because it'll hit the party members too. And I will make the same mistake over and over and over again, right? Reward players providing their own recap of the previous session. I basically say, hey guys, what happened last time at the beginning of every session? I don't necessarily reward it, but I ask them, hey, what happened? This informs me of what they know currently, what they intend to do, and informs me of what they deem is important for me to focus on, right? Because if they don't remember that Billy Bob Joe asked them to go do this secondary objective inside the dungeon, then it was not important to them. They didn't care. But if they harp on the fact that Billy Bob Joe said, hey, I need those flowers in the tomb, and they actively are looking for those flowers more than they're trying to save the blacksmith's daughter in the tomb, then I can make those flowers really important, right? I can make that have like a really cool effect that like leads off into a secondary like path narratively. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's yeah. Anyway. The harder fights thing, some people like meat grinder games, some people don't like meat grinder games. A lot of people in more recent times want like their character, like want a more narratively driven game, and so your characters die less, but death is always on the table, that sort of thing. So it really depends. You gotta set your expectations. Set it early. Be like, hey, I wouldn't expect your character to die, though you can. I'm not gonna actively like rocks fall, everyone dies. Right? There's a bit of resistance to that, but like if you put yourself in a dumb situation, you'll die. Or you can also be like, hey, if you look at someone wrong, they'll stab you and you will die. Like you set your expectations. That's important. Hey, Dead Prez. Do you have thoughts on the new Adobe TOS, basically allowing them to shut down a project you are working on if they don't like it, also getting access to anything made in their software? I think it's stupid. I think it's really dumb. Maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but from my understanding and from apparently a lot of people's understanding, you can't use Adobe stuff to work on anything that has an NDA because Adobe is constantly like gathering information on it. So they now would basically you'd have to bring Adobe into the non-disclosure agreement, which that's not going to happen. So it's just going to lead people to go elsewhere, or people are going to pirate shit. Like, I don't know. It seems like a really silly thing, and most likely the only thing they're using it for is AI learning stuff to teach their AI, so they could then have the AI make art, and they don't have to rely on artists anymore because that pushes them out and makes the bottom line better. So they have to spend less money and can make more money, and their entire company can burn to the ground because of it, but they don't care because they'll get a golden parachute package, and then they'll move on to parasitize the next company and get more money that way because that's how capitalism works. Burn this fucker down! God damn it! Fuck! Moving on. Hey, Dead Press, thank you. Thank you for hopping in. It's good to see you. We're going over the 44 D&D rules, which are, someone was very, very mad when they wrote these rules. 3, if you call me or my roles unfair, I'll get up and go home, and if you got a ride with me, you can find your own way back and suck it up. Actual sociopath behavior. Did we get heated? No, I love talking about that. I love that. I love getting frustrated about that one. Non-sarcastically, like legitimately. I'm okay. Actual sociopath behavior. If you don't like the way I'm playing this game, this literal amusement driving behavior that we have, I'm going to strand you in the middle of nowhere. And you're going to have to walk potentially miles or spend money just to get home again. That's a surefire way to have them never, A, either never show up to your game again, or B, never get a ride with you. Never hang out with you because you're a fucking lunatic. You need a leave emote for that one. I'm coming up with more emote ideas, and I'm afraid to do a leave emote because I'm like, no, I don't want to give you guys an excuse. Don't want to give you an excuse to leave. What else we got? Let's see. 4. I'm going to take your character's loot away as regularly as you want it given out. Rule 3 will apply here. You're gonna take away their loot? What does that entail? Like, for narrative purposes, or because just because? Like, what does that mean? Like, you're gonna give us a cool sword and then take the sword away? Like, what? Or is this just I'm giving myself justification for, like, a bad guy might, like, try to disarm you and take your sword or something? I don't, like, I feel like you could go into more detail about this. This feels more just, like, weird. I don't know. Number 5, if you don't act out any of your persuasion or intimidation or any other social checks, you'll fail before you even roll. You fail immediately because you aren't even trying and you're making the game lame for everyone else. On one hand, sociopath behavior. On the other hand, I do appreciate when my players get into the game and actually, like, embody their character and want to, like, role play. But not everyone can really do that. And now you're being the arbiter of what is and isn't, like, you know, engaging. Oh, that didn't entertain me enough. Come on, dance, monkey, dance. You're not dancing hard enough. Right? Like, ugh. I think the music's actually pretty on point there. But yeah, some people just don't want to act out shit, or are afraid to act out shit, are socially unprepared to do that, which is fine. So it even says in the book, like, hey, people might not want to do that, so like let them just sort of be like, yeah, I want to do this, and here's how he'll do it, and just describe how they're going to do it. That's a perfectly fine way to play the game. They don't need to be an actor. Not everyone needs to be Critical Role. Speaking of which, did you see the trailer for the third season of Vox Machina? I need to watch the second season. And apparently they just did a tweet how they were just doing voice work for the Mighty Nine animated thing. So that's still happening. Anxiety issues, that's one where positive reinforcement is much better than punishment. Absolutely. Yeah, no, like this sort of thing, either people are going to do it or they're not going to do it, right? This again, sociopathic. It reads as I don't care about anyone else's feelings. I just want the entertainment. I want Dance Monkey Dance. 6, if you don't pick up cues for side quests, that's not my problem. Get over yourself. Wow, he's so antagonistic. He's so fucking antagonistic. It's not a video game. It's role-playing, pen and paper-based game with miniatures. Thanks for describing what we're doing. I almost thought we were just like chewing on rocks here. I'm not holding your hand if you choose not to pursue stuff. Like, what is this even saying? Like, what is this even saying? If you don't pick up on cues for side quests, it's not my problem. Okay. Were you expecting, like, do the players complain like, oh, you didn't, that was a side quest? I thought this was a main no, they didn't pick up on it. Oh, that person was offering me a job? Oh, that was a thing, right? Like, are you just not being clear about your side quest? Hey, Nidus, sorry I'm late, went to pick up pizza. What kind of pizza? What are we doing? Initially we talked about some internet problems that I was dealing with, something wrong with my modem, but apparently we're streaming just fine. And now we're going over the 44 D&D rules that this lunatic posted. Not Tahex Mahal here. They reposted it because the original poster got rid of it. But it was very popular, these 44 insane, lunatic, sociopathic D&D rules that were talked about recently. I just wanted to go over them. Just having a good time. Just having a good time. We're talking about it. We're shooting the shit. Is it okay if I post a link while talking about tabletop RPGs? There's an amazing bundle on Humble right now for one of my favorite systems that includes what is literally my favorite RPG book I've ever read. Please, by all means. And you can talk about it too. What is it? What do you like about it? What is it? 6 means they didn't describe things well enough for their players and don't want to be the one to change, sensing some patterns. Yep. Like, I also love how this rule is like half of it. No. Like 2/3 of it is just insulting your players. Just insulting people. If you don't pick up on cues for the side quests, that's not my problem. Like, I guess you're not gonna go back and be like, oh, you missed the timing on this side quest, so you don't get the reward. Like, okay, that's fine. DM gives obvious cue of side quests, players ignore DM's cues, and does something that completely ruins the potential for the side quest. DM proceeds to obviously visually trash like 5 pages of notes. Players should freak out. That's why you don't write that shit. You don't. Well, first off, everything you do. This is advice for DMs. Everything you do for this game is disposable. It can all burn. Right? And it's why I don't really go into great detail on something unless I know my players are absolutely going in that direction and pursuing it. Right? I'm redoing my D&D world right now. I'm redoing Kithredia to a point, and I'm getting prompts. I have 2 prompts here. Right, there is the background for like a kingdom, like okay, here's the general idea of it, and then there's one adventure prompt, basically like one thing that is going on right now. Like, there's history, there's lore, right, a little bit of that, like a paragraph of lore, and then there is like one thing that is going on right now that I can take and use and lead into something else that is an adventure. Right, that's it. That's all I'm writing. That is all I'm writing. I might do a couple more pieces here and there to like flesh it out, but for the most part, it is just what is the place and what's going on. Delta Green, X-Files crossed with Cthulhu. Okay, so very like Call of Cthulhu-esque. Is a system designed to convey the inevitable decline and decay from being in contact with the mythos, how it destroys you through example relationships. It's intense as fuck, but also the best at what it's trying to do. Guys, check out Green's link to the Humble Bundle for Delta Green. I think I've heard of Delta Green. I think I've heard the name before. Positively, mind you. Sorry, the music is not helping. Anyway. Oh, let me. I forgot. I don't know if this is gonna last an hour, but I want this video to loop if if it does. Anyway, we got clown music playing. Yeah. Number 7. If you move to a square in combat, there's no takebacks. So for me personally, when I'm running the game, if a player does something and it's still their turn and they want to roll something back, basically if no dice were rolled, absolutely you can roll it back. But if you've done something and like enemies have rolled dice and we've already like done it, I'm a little more resistant, right? So like if you like walk 10 feet forward and cast Fireball, and I have to like roll dexterity saving throws for like 4 guys, and I do that and I tell you the result and you're like, maybe I want to do something different. It's like, no, you kind of locked yourself in there. But if you like walk 30 feet one way and you're like, oh no, wait a minute, can I want to go back? Like, okay, sure. Where were you? You were right here? Yeah. Now, if you're getting new information, that's an important part, right? Like if you're getting new information after moving, nah, you're kind of stuck there. I walked 20 feet this way. Okay, you triggered a trap. Well, no, I don't want to go that way. No. But other than that, no, yeah, you can call back anytime you want. The favorite book for Delta Green is Impossible Landscapes, which is their attempt to fit the King in Yellow into Delta Green. And what's ended up coming out is a beautiful story on the destruction inherent in the creative process, but also a fun and wild adventure. The King in Yellow is such a fun little piece to work with. Such a very like evocative image, and it has access to like that whole cityscape thing going on. It's really cool. Always fun to see how people interpret it. Yeah, maybe I should check out Delta Green. 5 pages is more, if you're like Matt Mercer, he literally did this on stream once. His 5 pages of notes isn't like a 5-page essay of the story, but rather notes on all the special NPCs that he only had planned for this side quest and magic items that were exclusive to the culture that side quest was going to take them to. The rogue forgot to roll his sneak attack. Fighter hasn't exactly. Yeah. So the note thing, you don't have to be that deep, right? Even that is a lot. But that is under an assumption that characters are going that way. And it depends on what kind of planner you are, right? Some people are very much more like they need to have it written down and it needs to be prepared and they can have access to it and they can look it up. And other people, namely me, more like to improv shit for the most part. Oh yeah, no, there's a guy, his name's Floopty Doopty. And he's a retailer. He sells houses, right? He has a distinct smell to him because he doesn't bathe very often. He's always trying to get the next deal. He's a rat man. Right? Just okay, come on. Pieces together. What is fun, right? Now obviously it's more than that, but it really depends what kind of game player, a runner you are. I prefer pre-built because I'm bad at world building. So legitimately, I've talked about this a lot, but I'm running Dungeons of Drakkenheim right now, a module, and I don't like modules. I've come to realize I really don't like modules because it feels like I'm playing with someone else's toys. I don't like it. I feel limited to the capacity that I can't make shit up or change things based on the situation. I can't introduce new ideas. I feel so stifled. But yeah, some people really like that. I tended to over-prepare, but held it together with a page of hyperlinks that led to a sheet for each of the major NPCs. Like for the major NPCs, I give like a couple general idea, like defining characteristic words of what they are, and then I just sort of let it go. This character is pompous. This character is like agreeable, but a bit gruff, right? This character is very regal, but when they get their dander up, they speak in like what would be like a country accent or something and get really heated, right? Like little things like that, right? Just like small things. It's like, okay, this is the defining characteristic of how I'm gonna play this character. right? It doesn't. You don't need a huge amount, but yeah, sometimes characters get a lot. Sometimes you get some more, like a paragraph or two. It happens. I'm running Curse of Strahd, and when that ends, we're taking the characters through the new Vecna Eve of Ruin. Oh yeah, the new Vecna thing. I haven't heard good things about that. If you like having freedom, you recommend Curse of Strahd and Baldur's Gate Descent to Avernus, because those campaigns, while they have a set story, they also take place in an area that is vast enough to let the sandbox. Okay, so here's the thing. Also, I have a specific way of how I like to run a homebrew campaign. And the thing is, there are two... When you run a module, the module takes precedent, right? The narrative in the module takes precedent versus the characters' backstories, right? But for the most part, you guys are here for the adventure. Your backstory serves to inform how you talk about your character, but for the most part, there is an agreement that your backstory is not going to come into the main plot. It's mostly just there. So like, if someone says, hey, you know, we might have to go swimming, and then you remember, hey, yeah, I'm from the coast, so I recognize this water is like this, and I can talk about it, and maybe we can look for some fishing boats, and you know, like all that. Right? Any backstory stuff, it gives you to inform your character and what they talk and act like, right? However, when I run a homebrew game, I have a main narrative, but the main narrative is much more... It's a through line, but it's not really what we're focusing on. The meat of it is the players' backstories. And I have, like, everyone gets, like, their own arc, where we focus on their thing, right? It's like, this character is a banished prince, right? And his kingdom was taken from him. That's gonna be a character arc. That's what we're doing, right? At some point, there's gonna be a draw. There's gonna be like a letter that says there's a rebellion and they need you, and you're gonna bring the whole party there, and we're gonna fucking overthrow that kingdom, and it's gonna be fucking hype. You know why? Because that's what the players care about. When they write their backstory, they're literally writing you a list of shit they care about. And it's incredibly easy. It's so easy to get them engaged when you get them engaged.
You are a raider. Legendary.
Hey, Ridge, how you doing? Welcome in. We're talking about D&D and you're resubscribing. Ah! Oh my God, 23 months.
Ridge Raider 42 just subscribed.
Yeah, for 23 months. Come on, robot, keep up. Thank you so much, Ridge. Enjoy the continuation of your duck-based emotes and no advertisements. How you doing? We're talking about D&D. We're going into a big thing about D&D here. It's very understandable if the players have a loose end in their backstory that would make a great character development potential. The desire to tug at those heartstrings and trauma is just too tantalizing. See, I've unfortunately like set that up. My group now knows I like to do that, so they make like interesting backstories and shit. And it's so stifling doing like Drakenheim, where it's like oh, by the way, Descent into Avernus. It brings up an excellent point, because I wanted to do like a campaign where characters go to hell, right? And obviously there's Descent into Avernus, and you can use that to a point. Yes, exactly. The problem, I will continue to nerd. The problem is when the players go from their world to a different world, their backstories get stuck back in the other world, and they can't really go back and deal with that, right? They're stuck here because I was thinking about doing a thing where they like go to a different world, right? And so that's a limiting factor. So it's like, oh, okay, their backstory, but that kingdom thing, well, how are they gonna get to the kingdom? They're in hell, right? Overwhelming amount of ass, good to see you. When I used to play, my friends would make almost identical characters and backstories every time, and it sucked a lot of the pizzazz out of the games. Yeah. It's just weird, which is weird that people, I had one player who did that. He would try to change up the backstory a little bit, but it's always the same character, like the same name, and they're always a wizard. Right? And for the most part, I tried to accommodate it, and that was fine, but it did suck a little bit of the fun out of it. Yeah, we are having a homebrew versus module discussion right now. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't run a game in hell. I'm not saying you shouldn't run Descent to Avernus. I'm not saying you shouldn't do those games. I'm saying that is an issue that I would run into, which is I like to have the backstories be like the main draw, main driving factor for the games. that I run, and that can be much more difficult when the players are unable to interact with their backstories. Always playing the human folk hero fighter. You can only do so many of those. You can always only do so many. You're a wizard again, Harry. Anyway, yeah. D&D stream. Oh yeah, we're talking about D&D right now. We're going over the 44 fucked up D&D rules that this guy made up. Anyway, boom, back to the meme. Okay, where were we? Oh yeah, we were talking about 7. If you moved into a square in combat, there's no takebacks. Basically, if you don't roll anything and don't make any defining things or don't get any new information, yeah, you can go back. It's fine. But like, yeah, this is all of this screams that he also has shitty players, right? All of this screams that, like, while he is a lunatic, he, she, or they are a lunatic. The players aren't helping. To be fair, for my own devices, I will always make a necromancer. Motherfucker is always making necromancers. It's not a class that fits in most campaigns. It's really not a greens. However, if you're looking for that and you have a cool DM, I would recommend either checking out the Soulbinder. You can probably Google it. Someone made a homebrew class, the Soulbinder, which is a class built around having like a companion that you summon. And there's a subclass that's like for plants, for puppets. Like you can control it, like the Naruto guy control the puppets, having like a duplicate, like a clone of yourself. There's one for zombies, right? There's a whole thing. Or check out Valda's Spire of Secrets, which has a full-blown necromancer class. Right? It's a whole thing. If you're really interested in that, I can send you the link. I have the PDF. I can send you the link. Just ask me, just message me on Discord and I can send you that. Oh. Time turns. We had a guy that would spend minimum of 17 minutes taking their turn. So we talked about that. This guy's like thinking about timing his turns. By the way, all of these rules, this man, woman, child, person is a sociopath. This person's crazy. But as far as a person taking too long, that's the actual answer is to sit them down outside and be like, hey, dude, honey, sir, madam, orc, you're taking too long. I know, it's very complicated. The game is very complicated. I know. I'm not gonna police you on this. I'm just asking that you consider like expediting your turns in some capacity, maybe thinking about your thing beforehand. Try to come up with like some routes that you could take, very easy ones in combat. Don't try to min-max everything. Do your best. I understand it's a complicated game, but please, 17 minutes is too long. we didn't get through half. We killed like 3 goblins. It was a 4-hour session. Please. A friend took so long on his turn, another friend fell asleep. Well, at least it's comfortable. At least your sessions are comfortable. At least your Endless Legend sessions are comfortable. Number 8, if you tell every single person what you're doing before you do it, you don't fucking roll dice and then say you're casting Fireball, you tell us all. Unironically, actually, I agree with this. Like, even the intonation, even with the way they're saying it, 8's actually just a good roll, like a good rule. Unironically, this has all been like lunatic shit. Nah, 8, actually, yes. Because there are people out there who will roll dice, just keep rolling dice while everyone's doing other shit. Right? Just for fun, and then they'll roll a 20 and be like, "Hey, I got a 20. Can I do a thing?" No. You can't. Fucker. Like, that's the thing. The way the context works is you tell the DM what you're trying to do, and then the DM tells you what you need to do in order to do that. If you say, I would like to jump over this ravine here, right? And you say, what do I have to roll? And the DM might tell you, okay, you have to roll athletics, or, oh, no, you don't have to roll. there's no like issue here. You just follow the jump rules, which is you run 10 feet and then you jump horizontally a number of feet equal to your strength score. And that's it. Can you make it? Yes, you make it. Can you not make it? No. Okay, how close is it? Is it almost? Okay, then we're making a check to see if you... The DM will tell you what you need to do. Sometimes you don't need to roll. Sometimes you do. Don't just roll shit. Don't just do that. Sometimes you don't need to. But yeah, this one, unironically, just don't fucking arbitrarily roll it. You can roll the die, that's fine. Just don't be like, no, I'm using this. You're not. Don't. This I actually do have this, not like to the extent where they're rolling and being like, hey, can I use this? They're not doing that, but with my party, they will be like, hey, I'd like to convince this guy to do this, and I did a persuasion and I rolled this, and I'm like, wait a minute. Just, I'll tell you when to do it. You might not need to. Because that's dangerously close to this, right? And sometimes I have to put the brakes on it. Something like, okay, hold up. But anyway, number 9. I will give out exhaustion more frequently. If you argue, go home. You can actually fight me over it, or you can DM. You can actually fight me over it. You can throw hands over exhaustion. Is exhaustion really the hill you want to die on? Exhaustion, hold on. I'm gonna show you guys. You guys probably don't understand how bad 5e exhaustion is. Hold on. I actually have this fucking shortcutted. Hold on. I got this bookmarked. And the funny part is, it actually even scrolls down to it on the page for me. Fucking goddamn, it's like it knows. The AI is listening to me, guys. Okay, here we go. Exhaustion. Sorry about the flashbang. That's roll 20 for you. So some things can cause exhaustion, and there are 6 levels of exhaustion. Right? If you have the first level, all of your ability checks, everything you try to do that is not an attack or applying a saving or doing a saving throw, is at disadvantage, which means you roll 2 dice and you take the lower one, which sucks. If you get level 2 exhaustion, you not only have level 1 exhaustion, so level 2, you also have your speed halved, which means you're not running very fast. These are manageable, like these aren't a problem in combat, but then you get to the third one. You have disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws. So basically, everything you're doing just everything you're doing, disadvantage. Then you get to 4, hit point maximum halved. So your hit points are halved. 5, your speed is 0, you can't move, and at 6, you die. The vast majority of people, agree that exhaustion is too debilitating to use in an actual game, and the second aspect here, B, maybe, is that exhaustion disproportionately punishes martial characters as opposed to spellcasters. Because disadvantage on ability checks, spellcasters just cast spells that do things. They don't necessarily do ability checks, whereas martial characters are like, I'm gonna lift the rock. Okay, make a strength check. The spellcaster's like, I cast telekinesis. It go up. I cast levitate. Rock go up. Speed halved. The spellcaster is shooting fire bolts and shit from long range. They don't care. A martial character could like attack with a bow, so maybe if they're a ranged one that can work, but right? And disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws. The spellcaster doesn't care. They're not making attack rolls. The saving throws is a defensive thing. They're making the enemy make saving throws. Right? So it doesn't apply to them. The hit point maximum halved is actually now when we have an effect that can really affect them. Right? So disproportionately. Except in very niche situations or campaigns, I think that's a mechanic I'd skip. No, absolutely. Absolutely. However, Wizards of the Coast in the UA not recently, but like in their 1D&D UA introduced a new idea of exhaustion, which I call strain. I call it strain, but basically it's a replacement for exhaustion where each level gives you a -1 to your attack rolls, ability checks, saving throws, and your spell save DC. So it affects spellcasters really hard too. And it stacks, right? So a replacement for it that you can actually use. Great. Hey, Binary. Twitch said the stream is for mature audience. Should I leave? Well, it depends. Are you feeling saucy? Hey, Binary, welcome in. We're just talking about D&D. I say the F word. Frijoles. I'm sorry. It's gonna happen. I'm not mature. Lied to me. Anyway, that's Exhaustion. Strain's really cool. We'll talk about Strain later. Don't you worry. Don't worry. But yeah, I'll give out Exhaustion more frequently. Exhaustion's not great. What if you play a race that is immune to delayed onset muscle soreness? Like Exhaustion? So funny enough, wasn't there a race that's like... Isn't it like the Shatter Kai or something? Hold on. Let me check something real quick here. No, why was I thinking of that? Anyway, yeah, there's some races that would have like some weird like limiting resistances, and I feel like they were immune to exhaustion or something. Hey, Catron, sorry, you're like, don't worry about it. It's good to see you. Welcome in. We're just talking about D&D. We're going over the 44 fucked up D&D rules. the 44 horror story rules that this guy put up. But yeah, if you... Anyway, let's go back to it. Where were we? Number 10. Every snide comment you make to an NPC will be remembered and paid back in triplicate. You all seem to believe there is little consequence. So every one of your NPCs is a petty bitch? On one hand, you go, girl. On the other hand, come on, mix it up a little bit. No, like, it's fine. It's fine. This one's silly. Hey, Harriet, good to see you. Welcome in. Yeah, we're just talking about D&D stuff. That seems unrealistic. Not every NPC would respond that way. Exactly. No, you're right. No, you're right, ass. You're absolutely right. You should mix it up. There should be petty bitches in your game. There should be people who are going to be like, you freaking said, like, sir, and not my lord, master, high king, to the gallows with you. Right? There should be characters like that, but not everyone should be like that. You will not be given a mega dungeon every session. A temple is not the size of a small city, neither is a cave. This shit will happen when it's natural and organic. Go play some roguelite if you want that. Like, I don't think people ask for a mega dungeon every session. This feels like methinks you doth protest too much that you feel like you need to. You don't. You don't. The 4-room dungeon is fine. This guy is unable to make informed decisions for NPCs. You should just make a chart. Just make a chart. They are angry. Oh, you have advantage? Okay, okay, hold on. They're aroused. Damn. As far as the mega dungeon thing, yeah, you don't need to make a mega dungeon every session, nor should anyone expect that, nor would anyone want that. That'd be such a slog. The way I like to run the sessions is like you do dungeons and it might take a couple sessions, maybe. And then afterwards you have some downtime, not necessarily explicitly downtime in the mechanical sense, but like, hey, we're gonna talk to NPCs, we're going to interact with each other, we're gonna go back, we're gonna spend our money, we're going to have some dialogue shit. We're not gonna like be running around in a dungeon or a warehouse or a cave or whatever for a little bit. And it gives them time to miss it. Because they miss it and they're gonna want to go into it. Like, oh man, it's been like 3 weeks since we've done a dungeon. I'm hankering to kill some goblins. Oh! And then you get in there and you kill the goblins and it takes 4.5 hours and you're like, oh god, that was great. I'm tired of killing goblins. Don't worry, we're done with killing the goblins. Oh, thank heavens. I just want to talk to someone, and then you talk to people and you're like, oh, this is great. Back and forth. Right, there's the 3 pillars, which is exploration, social, and combat, right? You try to balance them to some extent. Some people just don't like the exploration stuff though, but you can kind of mix it in places. Is this a D&D GM or someone's boss? This is a GM who had a very bad experience, apparently, or set of experiences. I just like Mega Dungeons. I actually prefer bantering with NPCs to killing them. Yeah, to an extent, like Mega Dungeon. Basically, my party went through the Inscrutable Tower in Drakkenheim, which is like a mega dungeon. It has like multiple floors, a bunch of battle maps. It's a whole thing, right? And it took us like, what, 4 or 5 sessions to get through, of like 4-hour sessions. It was rough, man. And eventually everyone just wanted to get out. Like, I would never build that shit. Like, oh. Yeah, multi-session dungeons can be rough. Finding Carrier's HQ after a delivery was missed, so it's just 3 hours of bureaucracy and cartography. I played a campaign where I was Rodrin. I was a Dragonborn barbarian, right? And a lot of it was talking. Like, legitimately, we would go like 4 sessions or so of like bi-monthly games, like twice a month games, and there'd be no fighting. We'd just be like going from point A to point B and having a character introduce themselves, and then we kind of sit there and do not like, it was like, can you give us a job to do something, please? I want to cut a Hydra's head off and then cut the 2 Hydra's heads off as they regrow. I want to fight shit. And then after we fought shit, then we can talk, then we can do more socializing, but mix it up a little. Yeah, variety is the life of spices, guys. Mix it up a little bit. Anyway, the travel portion is done. You want to travel continents, doing literally whatever you want, whenever you want. Go play World of Warcraft and play D&D with chat. What? Okay, he's thinking of more and more ways of saying fuck off. But the travel portion is done. What does this mean? As in, like, you can't just teleport from point A to point B. You're gonna have to travel, so you can't just like leave and go do something. Yeah, I assume. Like, what were people in your games like, nah, I want to go to town B that's on the other side of the continent right now. Can we go there? I want to be there. I want to fast travel there. This reeks of bad players. This reeks of bad players too. They're not allowed to travel. He's forcing people to follow the path he sits them on. That's also bad. You don't want to railroad people. You give them impetus, and there is a social contract of like, hey, the adventure is right here right now. Can you please not, like, at the beginning of the session drop, yeah, we want to leave and go to this other town? Which that's much more, you know, reasonable to say than just, you know, fuck off. But if you're late for no good reason, I'm going to have your character hit points for the entire session. Don't fucking do that. Don't punish in-game. Don't have in-game consequences for out-of-game actions. Don't do that. Don't do that. You are adults, I assume. You're mature enough to interact with math, with this game, this social game. You're opting to... Nose hair is looking good, thank you. I'm curating it. Keeping the flora adequate. Keeping it trimmed. Anyway. You're mature enough to want to engage in a social activity with your friends. Engage in a social activity with your friends. Don't be an asshole. And it doesn't fix the problem, like we said. It doesn't fix the issue. If they're late for no good reason, just play the game without them. If they're not there at the start of the game and they haven't told you why, assume that they just decided to leave and drop, and they're sorry, we started without you. You didn't give us any reason. We thought you just gave up on the game and didn't want to play. That's fine. You don't have to. Just continue playing the game. Right? If you try to get a hold of them and they just don't respond, maybe there was a good excuse. Maybe they did have a good excuse, but you're saying here there was no good excuse. You're saying here that, like, they didn't show up to the session at the start time, which you've set beforehand, assumedly. And yeah. So if that's the case, just play without them. Assume they don't want to play anymore. I wrote a massive epic campaign, and the intro to it sounded intimidating, so the party did a 180 and the character went for ice cream. Whoa, it's dragons. Is that a fucking... What is that thing? Is that an eyeball with teeth? No, I'm leaving. No, I'm leaving. Goodbye. No, I'm out. Call it. You know what? This is a great time for the BRB screen.
Okay.
Okay. That's our new BRB screen. You would not believe the shit I had to go through to get that set up. I had to download an app. I had to download an extension for OBS to get that shit set up. Anyway. I'm very proud of it. Peak entertainment, you're welcome. Where were we? Number 14. Oh man, we got 44 of these. Oh no. But why? I wanted it to be fucking more entertaining. That's why. I wanted it to be more entertaining than just this. Right? I wanted it to be more entertaining. And also I had that TikTok on my computer for the longest time and I wanted to do something with it. If you don't show up, okay, so this is if you're late for no good reason. If you don't show up for no good reason, and that will be determined by me alone, oof. So, no good reason, and I will determine if your reason is good enough. No one else has the guts to say shit for fear of upsetting one or another. Oh God. I'm brave enough to say what everyone else is thinking. Right? Oh no, he is a sociopath. The first time you'll find yourself losing either a whole, I assume whole level, or up to 3 major items of your own. Again, in-game punishment for out-of-game behavior is not how you do this. The second time you do it in a row, so if I just do it one time and then don't do it again and then do it again, it's fine, it resets. You'll be removed from the chat and the group full stop. I have no fucking time for people to not show up. Like, on one hand, I totally understand being frustrated at people like not putting in the time and effort, because like the DM puts a lot of time and effort into setting this game up, and all the players really have to do is show up each week. So I get that. What is rule 5? Oh yeah, no, we talked about this earlier. Yeah, Catch. No, absolutely. Yeah, we talked about this. You don't have to act out the characters like that. That's even in like the basic rules. Some people aren't like that roleplay savvy, right? They don't want to act. It's not like Critical Role. It's not your entertainment. And we talked about it. It sounded like, yay, dance for me, the DM. Please, players, please dance for me. Oh, yes. Oh, it's so fun to see you act out in so many ways. I'm right chuffed. Yeah. Fucked. Feel that moving duck screen again? What, this one? Music is kind of timed to it, isn't it? You guys can't hear it though. Hey! You're welcome. Thanks, French. Where were we? So yeah, this is just if you don't show up, I'm going to in-game punish you, and if you don't show up again, I'm going to remove you from the chat and the group full stop. You don't need to do this. You can kind of imply it like, hey, you weren't here, so, and you didn't give us a reason, so we just continued playing. Because here's the thing, the reward is playing Dungeons and Dragons. If they don't want to play Dungeons and Dragons, they'll stop showing up. If they do, they'll continue to show up. If they don't have an excuse as to why they didn't show up on time or didn't show up, then they don't care. Like if they just, oh, I fell asleep, or oh, I forgot, then they don't care enough and they'll fall behind, and eventually they'll just stop coming. And then you have that conversation with them out of the game, like, hey, if you're not going to be here, just tell us and we won't expect you. Have an adult conversation. They're not children, I assume. Hey, Viz. Saw a new class type I want someone to try. Charisma Rogue. Very nicely ask everyone. Oh yeah, the Charisma Rogue. There's the Intimidation Rogue, the Orc. You no see Throggar. I don't see Throggar. Number 15, if you get too stoned or drunk, I think I stopped reading at 14, so this is new to me. If you get too stoned or drunk to play, I will go home without warning. Your warning is here. Yeah, that can be a bit disruptive. And you can set that guideline, be like, hey, you can drink, you can smoke, or hey, no, I don't want you to drink and I don't want you to smoke while we're playing. Right? Or you can drink, you can smoke, just understand I don't want you to get completely smashed and be unable to do your turn, because that's going to take a really long time. And I kind of want, like, the expectation is, like, this is not a beer and pretzels game, or, hey, this is a beer and pretzels game. We're just rolling dice and killing shit. Sure, absolutely. Set the expectation. Set it early. That's what they're doing here, which on one hand is good. Just don't be antagonistic about it. But yeah, set the expectation early. What is this? We're having fun, but we're trying to get through this. Or we're having fun and it doesn't matter at the end of the day what we're doing, right? Like, set the expectation. Your warning is here, though. That's funnier, actually. It's not my joke. It's a funny joke. It's not my joke. The classic Throggar. The Batman, the classic Batman, where the goon, that word's being changed recently. The goon opens the door after hearing someone rummage around in the office. He's like, and Batman looks up just like, the goon's just like, turns to the other guy next to him. What'd you see? Nothing. Walks away. I didn't see shit. I didn't see that. Nope. Nope. Wayne Enterprise paid for this jaw after what he did. No, man. Nuh-uh. Rolling dice and killing shit was my nickname in the Benevolent Club. Benevolent. If you get up for bong or smoke or whatever breaks every 10 minutes, I will simply pack up and go home. I'm sick of waiting for every bloke to be at the table. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, hold on, I gotta go do something. Hey, hold on, I gotta do something. Hey, hold on, I gotta do something. But this feels like a very specific. This tells you like the people this person is playing with. It's like the further we go in here, like the further we see, like this guy's crazy, but also the player base that he's playing with, not great. Let's play a game where the DM and his girlfriend downed a wine bottle each, no cups. 1 hour in, they were blubbering on top of each other. Where we were all like, ugh. It's a social game, guys. Be presentable. Yeah, there's no winners at this table. This whole situation sucks. This whole situation sucks. This could be me on a bad day, right? I would not write this down and post it on Reddit, but like, I might like write this down in a document and be like, it's like a letter you don't send, you know? It has that. Fucking, they keep making fun of my character names. They can roll 2d12 and suck these nuts. Guidance, divination spells, owls, and whatever spells they decide are too fucking stupid are banned. Outright, no more fucking guidance. This is actually fine. This rule is actually fine. If you do it beforehand. A DM can ban whatever the fuck they want. You can set the rules whatever you want. You just do it at the beginning and you tell your party, hey, you aren't allowed to do this, 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 and this. Okay? And the party has the right to say no and leave. That's it. They either say no and leave or yes and they agree to it. But you don't like, oh, you took guidance? Yeah, no, I'm banning guidance. Well, I didn't know that. Well, too bad. Like, divination spells are fun and good. Absolutely, that's a different conversation, right? Like, guidance spam can be frustrating. Using owls have the flyby trait, so basically, like the familiar. Like a wizard would summon an owl as a familiar, and it can have the owl fly up to someone, take the help action, which means the next attack has advantage, and then they have the flyby trait, which means they don't trigger attacks of opportunity. So basically, when you walk away from someone in combat, they get a chance to swing at you. The owls doesn't happen, so it literally flies in, gives someone the help action so that they get advantage, and they can fly away. So it's very common for wizards to have owls, right? That sort of thing. But yeah, no, like the point being, not the specific like substance of this, but the point being, yeah, you can ban whatever you want, and you don't even need to give justification for it. The players then opt into it, but you shouldn't do it in the middle of the game. And if you do, you then need to sort of have the understanding of, hey, I'm sort of shaking things up, and I really need to like this is a bad thing to do, right? He sounds like the person who would put an overpowered fetish OC into their story and act like that's the player's problem when they struggle to beat them. Oh, you seem to be having trouble against the all-powerful Piss Wizard. Who could have foreseen this? Dare you enter his lair, the forest of urine? Some bullshit. Have your character control delete on the spot. Who else here has been kicked out of a D&D group because of an acquaintance who invited you upset the DM? Hasn't happened to me. Of course, I've had a very limited interaction with D&D. Like when I entered a group the first time, it was an LFG group, and we got through like almost the entirety of Fandelver, which is just like the starting campaign, the starting module, and the DM left during the right before the last like session, like just ghosted us, just gone. And then we found each other again. Like we connected through like Discord, and everyone like telephoned basically through Discord. We got all connected again. And then I ran a campaign for like 2 years, and I got really good at it, I think. And I still play with those people. Yeah, we're still friends on Discord. That's basically my D&D stuff. I've also done a couple little one-shot things, and I ran with another group for a bit that I found on LFG, and they were great. Excuse me. They were great. But ultimately, I ended up leaving because the campaign wasn't exactly like the way they were going. It's like it was good, but it wasn't for me. So I left it that way. So hasn't really happened to that. I'm sorry that happened to you, Viz, though. Yeah, agreed. It's all about setting expectations, right? If you do it beforehand, it's not a problem. If it becomes a problem during the session, it's usually good practice to let it ride, let it do its thing, let them succeed at the thing, and then after the session be like, okay guys, that thing did this thing in this situation. Going forward, either you ban the effect, the thing they were trying to do, and then let them change and get a replacement. Don't just, it's banned now, you can't change your spell, get fucked. No, you would let them change some stuff. But if you're gonna ban like the effect or something, or say like, I let this work once, we're not gonna let it work again.
Exodia!
Pass your points! Guys, if you save up 1,000,000 points, you too can be a VIP. Don't just obliterate your points. Wait, are you leaving, ass? Have you ever heard from the original DM again? No, I haven't. No, he was just gone. Gone. He rated okay, as far as I know. No, I was raising my hand to agree. Oh, okay. You didn't say you were leaving. I got the impression that you might be, but no, you're not. Okay. I'm getting there at 600K. Yo, you're a mod though. So Viz, I say hi to everybody. Everyone say hi. You know what, chat? Would everyone wave at overwhelming amounts of ass for me? Thank you. Anyway. 18. You get one chance at a skill check. If you fuck it up, your party doesn't get their chance to do it. The same check. Think careful who's good at what. Good job, everyone. Thank you. So this is interesting because this is actually a fault with the game. Aw. This is actually a fault with the game. So you have situations where it's like, hey, player A is going to make a check, right? And they fail, and then player B is like, well, can I make that check? And then they fail, and then player C is like, well, can I make that check? And then they succeed. Right? And so that can be kind of frustrating. But the way that they're limiting it here doesn't make any sense, right? Like, why can player A do it, and then why can player B not do it as well, right? It's a limiting factor, but like there's no in-universe reason why they couldn't do it. I know it's frustrating that that's how the game is built, but that's how the game is built to a point. Basically, there are some skill checks that you can just repeat over and over, like thieves' tools checks. Like when you're trying to lockpick something. There is actually no limiting factor on your ability to lockpick something. You can just keep trying until you get the DC, until you get it. So it's like, from a design perspective, why even have the check, right? That's why I always feel bad for rogues when like, I'm gonna be a lockpick guy, and I'm like, the game just kind of doesn't have the proper mechanics for that. I'm sorry. I mean, we can do it, but the game is going to be, okay, roll the d20. Did you get it? No. Okay, roll again. Did you get it? No. Okay, roll again. Did you get it? And like, yeah, time passes, but very rarely does time matter. And if you've ever lockpicked in your life, you'll know that lockpicking doesn't take that long. Especially on like very basic locks, which you're most likely going to find. Can I be an astronaut? I mean, I can't stop you. The role is the next attempt needs to be someone with a higher skill rating. So for me, oftentimes what I'll do is, if it makes sense for like, if it's like an intelligence check, like, hey, see, do you guys know anything about this? Anyone can make this check, right? I'll be like, and everyone can make that. And if someone gets it, then we get the information, right? There's also sometimes a player will do something, and sometimes I'll be like, okay, the player who decided to initiate this can make the skill check, but also, so sometimes I'll do it where the player who initiated it can make the check, but also anyone who has proficiency in that can also make the check. Even if the initial player didn't have proficiency, they get to do it because they decided to do this thing, and everyone with proficiency can also try to do it, right? So we're making a history check. The player, the barbarian who does not have proficiency in history, can make the check and attempt to succeed, but also everyone else who has proficiency in history could also attempt to make it. That's another thing we can do. Or maybe we do a group check. Maybe we do a skill challenge where, hey, you have to try and solve this problem. How are you going to solve this problem? And then people can pitch ideas of, oh, it's a boulder? I'm going to try and use my strength to push it over. Or the wizard's going to be like, I'm going to try and use, can I paint like arcane runes on it and attempt to like push it over with magic? Or maybe I could use my perception to try and see if there's like cracks in it that we could use to damage it and make it roll over, or maybe I can use my investigation to see if I could hazard like a lever in there, like that sort of thing. And then we roll the checks, and if we have more successes than failures, you move on. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can do this, but just saying one guy gets to do it, that's it, no repeats, you really need hard justification for that. I like to make the players that are in a dialogue be locked into this situation. So if they're trying to discuss between other party members about what they should say, it's what their characters are saying. So the person they talk to hears. It makes them have more organic conversations. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. I do like my players to have like a conversation, but there's also the idea that these characters have been with each other for weeks. Way more than you guys have been. And so they've probably talked with each other, and they've like shot the shit back and forth and had plans and ideas. And so I'm a little loose in letting people like chat back and forth with each other, like the players, not the characters chatting. So I'm a little looser on that, but that's fine. That's a fine way to run it. I'm sure it keeps people engaged. I don't see anything wrong with how you run that. The failure represents not a singular attempt, but can you do this particular thing in a specific instance? Yeah, no, absolutely. Sometimes it's multiple attempts at a thing, right? It's not just you try this once, did you succeed, fail, do it again. Sometimes it's not that. But even in that, for like the lockpicking challenge, even if it's like, okay, you try for like 10 minutes and you don't get it. Okay, what's stopping us from continuing? Right? So some skill checks, it's like, why even bother with the check if you're just gonna keep going until you get it, right? Yeah, personally, if anyone has any solutions to make lockpicking more interesting and actually a thing, let me know. The closest thing I've worked out is basically that for lockpicking, if you fail a lockpicking check by 5 or more, your lockpicking tools break and you need to repair them over the course of a short rest. Right? You can have multiple instances of it, sure, and it costs you nothing to repair it. You just do it over the course of the short rest. You get the short rest, it's fine. But like, that's the only thing I can think of, like where there's a consequence, right? Like, okay, I'm trying to pick this lock and oh, I flubbed it. Oh, my shit's broken. I need to fix it, right? But even then, you still have the issue of, oh, we take a short rest, he fixes it, and then we do it. Like, it doesn't, there's no consequence. It's a better way of handling it, but we still have problems. I think it just boils down to the fact that lockpicking in fantasy is a lot more like, it's a trope, but actual lockpicking's a lot easier, right? Or is not quite as engaged. It's like hacking. It's like, oh, I'm a hacker, man. He's hacking into the mainframe. And you see like the matrix code running up and down, the pillars of green text. And in reality, it's just you hit a button and your fucking thing you built 3 weeks ago runs executable, and you see the prompt come up. It's I'm sitting here waiting and just drinking my soda. Okay, let's see what their IP address is. It's this. That's it. Like, you run the script. I don't know. On barrels that make the pick snap off of the lock, so no one can pick it, so they have to find another way to open it, which is not a bad idea, right? There's consequences, right? I even thought of, I think a long time ago, I even came up with, I'm not sure if I came up with this, or I think I took this from like a lockpicking post on Reddit, where it's like, there's like these dwarven tumblers, these specific dwarven tumblers, that if they detect that you're trying to lockpick it, there's like a fucking hammer inside that snaps shut, tries to break your pick, and locks the whole thing until you get someone to open it up. Anyway, yeah, lockpicking is a whole can of worms. Discussion of metagame details in-game will result in instant damage to your character. If you talk, okay, so this could be extrapolated as, if you talk out of character in any capacity, I will start making your characters take damage. Again, don't have in-game consequences or out-of-game behavior. Don't do that. It doesn't work. It's mean. You're playing a game. Could you imagine if they were playing Monopoly? Doug, this is a very serious game of Monopoly. If you start like talking about like that show you saw the other day, I'm gonna start just taking money off the top here. I'm just gonna take your piece, and I'm gonna take this house you bought. I'm throwing it in the wood chipper. There's nothing you can do about it. Serious Monopoly. Fucking Pasco. My all-time favorite skill check failure was in Mech Warrior. My character was the team tech because he was brilliant. I was loading Goss. How do you pronounce Goss, by the way? I think it's Goss. Not Gosh. Oh gosh, this gun. Or is it? Rifle ammo into one of the mechs. Very expensive ammo. I would only fail on double ones on 2d6. I failed. Because of the rules of Battletech, no one with a lower skill could make the check. We blew $500,000 on busted ammo. Nice. Most expensive skill point I ever earned. I mean, yeah, 2d6. Speaking of 2d6, that reminds me, I got some new information. The MCDM RPG, they are using, instead of using a d20 for like all the rolls, they're using 2d10. They had 2d6, but now they've shifted it to 2d10, which is interesting because it's the same maximum roll of d20, but has a better average. The average would be, what, 11? As opposed to, like, 10.5, slightly. And you can't get a 1. The minimum you can get, because it's 2 dice, would be 2. So it skews it a little bit. more towards the middle. It ends up skewing it more towards the middle. They end up averaging a little more. Interesting. Interesting. You guys should check that out. The MCDM RPG. It's on backer kit. I'm excited for it. They said there's most likely going to have like an actual proper public playtest packet. A lot of P's in there. Sometime in Q2 of 2024. So sometime soon, potentially. Might be later. They'll probably push it back. But the game's probably going to be out like in 2025. This time, roughly 2025. Really cool. Rhymes with louse. Gauss. Gauss. I think it's like Gauss, but it's Gauss. Anyway, rules lawyering fellow players is encouraged. Actually, me will just result in me telling you to fuck off. Oh, I want to punch you. Holy shit. So what is rules lawyering? It's a term that gets thrown around and gets a bit vague, but from my understanding, the basic idea is rules lawyering is trying to use the rules of the game in such a capacity that you gain a benefit. Basically, it's like double thinking, right? You use the rules to get a benefit, but then when it would be a detriment, you go the other way with it. You use interpretive language, right? When the rule is vague or somewhat vague, you'd be like, oh, well, the rule says that this would happen, but then when it would be a bad thing for you, then you'd say it the other way. Rules lawyering, right? But here it's just pointing out this. I think they're just using it to point out rules when you're just, actually, that's not how that works. You see, you do this, right? And he's basically saying, yeah, do it for the players, but not for me. No. Don't point out when I'm wrong. Don't do that. Don't point out when I'm wrong. When I'm a big stupid poopy head and I get the rules wrong, you just have to deal with it. You're gonna see a thing here. If you guys stick around, I'm gonna show you my homebrew document that I have. I actually updated it the other day for you guys to show off. It's the homebrew document. It's only 20 pages, and we'll get through it pretty quick because we're not gonna look in detail of everything. But one of the rules is, hey, if I fucked up and if I ruled one way on something in the past and I'm ruling differently now, I want you to tell me because I might have forgotten. And I'd like to keep it consistent. So literally, did I fuck up? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. You roll your dice within view of two players who aren't you standard. You roll neatly and you roll them on the table. Failing to do these things will auto-fail whatever roll you did, arguing that you actually rolled Dude, maybe stop playing with, like, liars. Holy shit, this is a problem? Is this a problem? Don't play with cheaters. This shouldn't be an issue. Don't play with people who are gonna cheat. Oh, you cheat? I'm not playing with you anymore. Oh, I'm sorry. Player to fuck off because they hounded me for 40 minutes because I made everyone's characters be farmers who have never fought, and one player insisted he had proficiency with swords. No, you have proficiency with a hoe. Hey man, proficiency with a hoe though. I mean, if it's a setting thing, right? If it's like hey, you guys are gonna start as farmers. Okay, then you build your characters. But if it's like you drop that on them session one, like, oh, you have your character sheet here? No, you're farmers. Like, oh. This was one downside with my group in college, and most of us were philosophy students arguing the minutia of language is literally what we do for fun. It's rules as written versus rules as intent. What is written on the page, and what do the designers mean by that? And this argument will go on forever. What did they mean? And what is written? And those are two different things. Instant death traps and mechanics are coming into place. If you call these things unfair moving forward, I will laugh at you and tell you to fuck off and cry some more. Again with this antagonism. Instant death traps and mechanics. Okay, so here's the thing. Set the expectation. Set the expectation. This is a meat grinder game. If you aren't careful, rocks fall and you die. okay, some people like to play those games. Some people like, inherently in early Dungeons and Dragons, which I was not around for, but in OSR games, or like earlier games, basically, it was more of a survival horror game. You have that 10-foot pole and you're poking tiles ahead of you, and you hit one and it goes down, and then the ceiling comes down and crashes on the space in front of you, and you're like, haha, 10-foot pole, I was poking shit, right? That was kind of the idea. So maybe you want to play that kind of game. Absolutely, cool. That's why you bring like extra character sheets. That's what he brought up above. But you got to set the expectation beforehand, which if this is the rules document that you're sending to someone, sure, absolutely. It's not inherently bad. It's bad if you go into it thinking, I'm gonna be a hero and my character is not gonna die and we're gonna go fight the dragon, and then you take a step into the marsh and then die from asphyxiation because of the poison gas. Right? It depends. What kind of game are you playing? Old D&D was like Pokemon with character sheets having different moves on them. Yeah, it was a little more like, it was a little more streamlined, folks. You had the Fighter Man. The Fighting Man was his actual class name. The Fighting Man, I think. All right. We're halfway there, guys. I will not give you random magical items and vendors will not stock them. They are meant to be rare and hard to acquire. Well, okay, so you're gonna find them, I assume. Wait, hold on. I will not give you random magical items and vendors won't stock them. How do they happen? Do you have to make them? I mean, crafting's a thing in this game, but like, if you're not giving them to them, how are they getting them? No loot, only die. Random encounters in the form of random dragons or strange mysterious road trader or band of goblin prostitutes isn't going to happen. Go play Baldur's Gate 3. This one I actually agree with, or this one is the one I actually like. Mostly because, hold on. I don't like random encounters. I don't like, okay, I have 3 things prepped and you guys, okay, roll a d20 and if on a 1, we're gonna have a random encounter. Roll a 6, okay, there's no encounter. Like, no, I don't like that. What I do is, okay, the party is going from Boysenberryville to Jamland, right? And along the way, 3 scenes happen. They meet a dragon who's very personable, right? And is sitting on the side of the road, right? But when they meet him, he's like, oh, he strikes up a conversation. They get past him, right? They say they introduce each other and they have their nice chat and they move on. They see a mysterious road trader who trades exclusively in severed human fingers. Really sets you guys off, but you leave him be. Then you see a band of goblin prostitutes in like a traveling caravan, and they give you the eyes. We're gonna make some skill checks. Right? Those are scenes that happen. It's not random. I've decided that these are the things you're going to meet as you go across. Right? And I like that a whole lot more. Right? I build scenes, effectively. Goblin prostitutes. Goblin prostitutes! It's in the lore. Gotta read the lore book. What about prostitute dragons? Hey, Bokeh, good to see you. About prostitute dragons? I mean, dragons have the ability to shapeshift. That is built into the fantasy. That is built into the Forgotten Realms. They do have shape-changing abilities. That is how you get dragon children, like half-dragon children, is they shape-change into like a human form, and then they tango. They crochet a little bit. And then like 9 months later, you get like a weird half-dragon creature. What about prostitute bards? Just a fucking, that's redundant. Anyway, number 25. I don't give 2 fucks what Reddit said about X or Y ruling. I mean, so here's the thing is that, like, yeah, you shouldn't be like, oh, Reddit said this. If you can show the person, like, the post, it can be a great thing to support your case for how a ruling is supposed to be, because people have to do that. Like, you'll find, like, a lot of people asking questions on, like, the, is it RPG Stack Exchange or something? A lot of people asking questions about, hey, how does this rule work? And people, like, the top responses will usually be a long-winded post citing sources and pointing out why things work one way or another or how it can be interpreted, and you can use that to inform your decision. But yeah, it's no, the Reddit post does not immediately, like, if you find shit on here, it's like, yeah, no, it works this way, and they don't, like, justify it in any way, like, whatever, right? Fuck you, Reddit! I actually give less of a fuck about what your mate's D&D group did. Okay, fair. Whenever my players or other people like talk about their D&D group, oh, in my D&D group we did this thing. It's like talking about your dreams. Immediately tune out. Just gone. Just gone. Just gone. It's like talking about dreams. That's functionally what it is. It's a collective agreement to have a hallucination. That is what D&D is. Why did this person post this on Reddit then? Oh, you caught them in a loop. You caught them. You caught them, Bokag. What now? Saying anything to me about other players not liking me doing X or Y without them saying it directly to me will result in me kicking you out of the group. Don't use someone else to push your own agenda. Yeah, you shouldn't go behind other people's backs. Like, so what I do, and I literally say this at the end of almost every session, I say something along the lines of, hey, hopefully you enjoy the session. If you have any concerns or questions, feel free to reach out to me privately or publicly, whichever you're more comfortable with, and let me know, and we can talk. Because on one hand, I want them to have the option to come to me directly and talk to me directly privately, so they don't have to do it around a bunch of people. But if they're not comfortable coming to me and talking to me directly, first off, that's a problem. Uh-oh, I've created an environment that's not good for that. We got a problem there. But secondly, I want them to have the option to, hey, you know, I'd like to bring other people in on this who also feel this way, or like we could talk about this here, you know, like, yeah, that's fine. Whatever your options are. Hey, Misery! Bread! 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 Where? If you have any concerns or complaints, suck it up. Nah. What's a better hallucination, D&D or LSD? I haven't had LSD. I have had D&D though. I decided to wear my D&D shirt. Mind flayer again. I like this shirt. It's a nice shirt. By the way, you guys see apparently the new alternate cover for the new monster manual is just a mind flayer. It's kind of like this actually. It's really cool. Now I have to play Baldur's Gate 3. You're right, I do, but I'm playing Mass Effect. Actually, we're looking over rules right now. 28. You're not to sit down and have a 2-hour discussion about what Samson from Bundura Secondary did 3 weeks ago when you come to play. It takes 15 to 20 minutes I use to set up and review my notes, to talk to each other, then sit down and play. Yeah, this can be, this is actually not bad. It's like, hey, we're sitting down to play the game. Can you not immediately try to like, hey, remember that movie we saw? Man, wasn't that funny? Man, I can't wait to, you know, like, just please stay locked in. Like, you can shoot the shit a little bit, but like, please, I want to like play the game, you know? Like, this one's not too far out there. Some of these are really mean, but that one I can agree with. Focus is hard. Focus is hard, which is why generally I could play D&D longer, but I like to limit it to 3 to 4 hours because people start to check out after 3. People start to check out after 3 hours. The 4th hour is more like for me. It's like, come on, please. D&D Red is my favorite because it reminds me that my DM isn't nearly as bad as some. Think of the average American. Now realize half of them are dumber than them. Half of Americans are dumber than that person. We would have an arrival time and a start time so people would turn up an hour prior so we could make pizzas and smoke and drink. Like live D&D is a whole other experience. But yeah. It's like, hey, come here, show up at this time. This is when you arrive and we're gonna set things up and get things ready and we can talk about shit. And then we can lock in like an hour into the party, right? Like, yeah, no, absolutely. Live D&D and online D&D are two completely different beasts, but they're both pretty cool. Like, usually for our group, we meet at like 2 p.m. Pacific in the Discord, and I'm usually pretty on time about that, but we don't like start until everyone's there, and then we've like, you know, we kind of just arbitrarily decide to start like 10 minutes or so roughly into it. It's when everyone's like happy. The correct amount of ass. So wild that we need to differentiate between the two. No, yeah, because they really are very different, Misery. They really are very different. I don't think I've run IRL D&D for like Laws and Dare, but like I haven't really had like a D&D group, right? I've only ever done online D&D, and the live stuff is much different. You could be so much more animated and have like it's a whole different experience. Uh, 29. Saying shit like, guys, come on, we're not here to have fun, we're here to play D&D, this is serious business, is rude and dismissive of how much work I put into this. I will simply go, oh, okay. For a second, I was like, wait a minute, no, this is what you're doing though. But he's being, if you say this ironically, if you say, guys, come on, we're not here to have fun, we're here to play D&D. Someone said that to him ironically, and he's like, it hurt my fifis, so don't say this thing specifically. The DM does put a lot of work into it, but like he's right, that is dismissive, and they do put a lot of work into it. It's just very specifically, it's kind of funny that it's like, please don't say, and I quote, guys, come on, we're not here to have fun, we're here to play D&D, this is serious business, with that intonation, because it hurts my fifis. And I agree, that would hurt my fifis. But still, it's funny that he made it a specific rule. Never really done live D&D, thank you, COVID. Yeah, I was going to, I was intending to. But then, yeah, COVID hit. I was trying to. Don't fucking order food randomly. We will eat together at a specific time or not at all. I don't want food shit all over my things. This is just rude people. Like, dude, yeah, like the bong shit, the weed shit, the dismissive shit, like, find a better group, fuck. God damn. There is a saying in D&D. You know what that saying is? No D&D is better than bad D&D, which you could take that as a weird way, as like, oh, bad D&D is great. No. Having no D&D is better than having bad D&D. Don't put up with bullshit. It will actively make your situation worse. No food or drinks near any of my gear. If you wreck something, you can pay for it. I let one person trash my DM screen once and I never had it replaced by them. In fact, I had that person attempt to gaslight me into believing they didn't wreck my shit at all. I'm not stupid, you're an adult, accept responsibility. So we are adults! We are adults here! We've changed things. Yeah, don't fuck his shit up, that's fair. The fact that you have to make this a rule is really frustrating. Again, this is like, hey, I bought the books. I spent $40, $50, $60, $70, $80 on each book. Don't get your greasy pizza fingers all over the Mind Flayer page. Otherwise, you're paying for it. Like, that's fair. That's fair. The fact that you have to say this, though, is fucked up. Everyone has their own character model in dice, so if someone has barbecue sauce in their hands, it's only them. That's fair. Yeah, you bring your own dice. But, like, it's like, if you're sharing the book, which usually the DM is the one who gets the books and then shares them around. But, yeah, like, don't fucking, like, wipe your hands. Don't eat and then, oh god, gross. How else am I gonna keep my spot? Arguments between party members outside of roleplay will be resolved by me giving the definitive ruling. If you don't like it, fuck off back home. Between party members outside of roleplay? Okay, so party members are only roleplay. I guess you mean the players, not the characters. I assume this is only in regards to D&D, because if someone's like, you slept with my boyfriend, and they're like, no, I didn't, like, you're not gonna rule on that. I assume this has to do with D&D. If that's the case, yeah, the DM is the final arbiter on the rules. If you say like, yeah, my special ability lets me cast Fireball by expending a spell slot, he says, no, it doesn't. You can't do that, even though it literally says it in the rules. The DM has the final say, and you could just be like, well, then I'm not playing with you because you're just making bullshit up. He's like, fine. You have the option to opt out at any time. Don't play with shitty people. I don't give a fuck what they did in Critical Role or what that one guy on Reddit said. Okay, we're back to this. Or if you think that it's all make-believe so you can do what you want. The world I run works on internal rulings and lore I created specifically for it. Yeah, there was the Matt Mercer effect, which it also applies to other DMs, but it got popularized as the Matt Mercer effect, where basically people will see Critical Role and see how they play Critical Role and use that to inform how you play Dungeons and Dragons. And that is their interpretation of Dungeons and Dragons. And so they get disappointed when they come play with someone else and they're not playing with a professional voice actor in a studio with a bunch of sound equipment and cool lights, and whose job, one of their jobs, because he's still a voice actor, is to write a narrative for like 7 or 8 people and keep it interesting for hundreds of thousands of people to watch. Shocking. D20, does he get to sleep with your girlfriend? That's so fucked. But yeah, no, it can be difficult and frustrating. But that is, again, setting expectations. Like, hey, have you seen Critical Role? Okay, I want you to know that D&D is not necessarily like that. It can be to a point, but do understand we're not professional voice actors. Which, hey, up above, you said that you don't care if people aren't professional voice actors. You want them to roleplay anyway, even if they're not comfortable with it. So, anyway. Every single person in this chat is having debuffs applied to their characters that should have occurred a long time ago. This will be specific to... What? I don't even know what this means. I don't know what this means. I'm gonna skip 34. I have no idea. This is probably a very specific thing. 35. If you don't bring your sheet, you don't play. Why? Are you going to police their sheets? I don't look at the character sheets. I assume that they're curating their character sheets. I don't have to police them. They're not children. They're not gonna lie and cheat. Who cares? You don't bring your sheet. I guess it's like, oh, I think I had this. I guess then you say, is it on your sheet? Well, I don't have my sheet. And then I guess you don't have it because you can't confirm it. Like, that's fine. They can still play, but there is a limiting factor on it. Rule 34, your bard is pickle rot. my pickle, not my pickle. I should have left it in the fridge. If you don't bring dice, borrow some. Yeah, you should have dice. When we play D&D, I'm not your friend. Okay. You should be. I turn the music up at this point? That doesn't mean you treat me like an enemy during the game. It means I'm no longer being nice. Fuck off. D&D is very serious. Okay, but actually though. I diagnose you with death. You realize when you treat friends like this in game, they don't want to play anymore. I'm not your friend. Guess what? If you treat me poorly in any way, shape, or form after or during or before the game due to something that happened in the game, you're out. If you cannot separate a game from reality, I think you're a fucking moron and I have little time to deal with that energy. Dude, you're punishing. There's several rules in this very document in which you are punishing people with in-game punishment for out-of-game behavior. What are you doing? By your own rules, you should not play with these people. Dude! Because you're right, you shouldn't play with people who are treating you like shit in or out of the game, but like your own rule. Where was it? Hold on, what rule is this? 38? Where is it? I mean, this is kind of that unfair rules. Oh yeah, if you're late for no good reason, I'll have your character's hit points. If you don't show up, I'm gonna start like taking your shit away. Shit like that. Is just one. There was another one in there. Like, come on, dude. You will submit your spell list daily in-game. If you do not give me a spell list each in-game day, you will not be allowed to cast a single spell or cantrip in combat. I do not trust you guys to not use this against me. Against you? Against you? There's another issue. You're the arbiter of the rules. You're not the antagonist. You just play them on TV. If you can't trust your players to follow the rules, don't play with them. They think everyone is their enemy. You're the DM. You're the dungeon master. Wonder how guys is a player. Be interesting to find out. I wonder how this guy is as a DM, because I'm curious, like this paints a very interesting picture, but I wonder if this is the real picture or if this is just like a frustrated venting post and they play with awful people. If you do not mark off spell slots or say something like, I remember what I am at, as a way to justify it, I will simply fail your spell, deal half your health and damage, and fucking punishing in-game for out-of-game behavior. You have to keep track of your spells in some way. Got it. Again, policing their character sheets. Don't play with people who cheat. Duh. If you break literally anything, you can buy the replacement that day or not attend till you do. Okay, so this is similar to the thing above where it's like, if you break my shit, there's a problem. So I don't know why you had to make this twice. If you complain about the choice, I guess they really wanted 44. If you complain about the choice of music, I fully expect you to bring the whole playlist the next session or to shut the fuck up. Providing music, man. Providing music. I do play music. Anyone who runs games, do you play music? I have like we have a watch together, and I play some. I have a bunch of background music I put on depending on the situation. And for the most part, I let the players control the volume so they can turn it completely off if they want to, right? Or be able to adjust it any which way. But usually we put it pretty low, just to have it in there, kind of like this clown music. Maybe atmospheric depending on the game, generally not. Usually put on a random sci-fi movie. Oh, okay. Just a random sci-fi movie? Doesn't that get distracting a little bit? Cannot stress enough how little I care about how you feel about my rulings from now on. Rude. Dude, that's not a rule, that's just rude. Forget about the game and watch that. See, it's too distracting, Misery. It's too distracting. And rule 44, I am never just threatening you, I'm promising you. Oh, this is nothing. This is you trying to be the cool guy, edgelord McCool guy, and failing. Thank you, Tahexmal. I appreciate you typing all of this out for us because the original post was deleted, as was the person. I feel like I understand why your group went on hiatus. Woohoo! Ah! This OP lives in a tiny, dumpy, middle of nowhere town. The only people who are able and willing to show up in person indeed are local stoners and high schoolers who just want to live out their power fantasies for free. I think you hit the nail on the head. Because, like, why would you put yourself through this behavior intentionally, right? Why would you do this intentionally? Guys, LFG is a great service, is a great Reddit, what would you call that? A Reddit, it's not server. What's the word I'm trying to think of? Not thread, subreddit. LFG is a great subreddit in which you can find people to play with. r/LFG. Granted, you have to socialize with people. I wonder if the players are really even that bad, or if the DM is just in a power trip and likes to control every little thing. I get the implication that they are really bad. I get the implication that everyone in the situation sucks, but Sleepy, I don't know. I don't know. The DM could just be awful and could just be like projecting and thinking, oh, what's the worst thing these people can do? They're stoners. They're gonna get stoner juice all over my books, right? Like it could just be like he's crazy. Or it could be he, she, they, sorry. I don't know. We don't know who they are. Or it could also just be that everyone is a lunatic in this situation. So bright. Oh, God. Ah! Is there like a dark mode for Google Docs? Chat, is there a dark mode for Google Docs? Is it in preferences? No? Maybe an accessibility? No? It's so white. It's whiter than me. I guess we're just gonna have to settle for it. Okay, guys, get ready for a flashbang. So, looking at that, it made me want to update my 5e rules document, and at least one of you, Cinery, asked for this the other day, so I decided, hey, you know what? I'm gonna update this and I'll show it to you guys. This is my 20-page 5e live document 2024 edition. The previous version was like double this length, but it was because it had pages and pages of like little edits for the classes to try and make them better, like for like the underpowered stuff. But I removed all that and basically just said, use laser llama shit. For the most part. Yeah. Maybe the DM role plays an omnipotent in-game god that is able to break the fourth wall to interact with the IRL players, and his character trait happens to be anally retentive. I hear they have some medicine for that. I think they're called laxatives. That should help. Anyway. Here we go, boys and girls and everyone else who is equally loved and appreciated. Ooh, wait, let me just, one last thing, check in. Pretty good, looks pretty good. Okay, ba-bam. That's it, there's nothing else. It's blank. If you want to follow along, you can gain access to this by typing !D into the chat. And a link should pop up. It's capital D's too. Yep, that's it. You got it. So you guys can read along with this if you want, and you can look through it at your own leisure. We're not going to go through the thing, like, we're not going to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, but I am going to go over a few of these things and talk about a couple of things and why these are the way they are, right? So this is the 5e live document, Dalton's 5e live document. Oh, we could use some music. We could use some music. Hold on. Chill beats to study to. Get the lo-fi hip hop. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. Here we go. That's nice. Anyway, here we go. We change our feet. So you take your right foot and you put it on your left leg, right? Looks like the Lannister guy from House... I look like the Lannister guy from House of the Dragon. Ooh! Ooh! I don't read books. Thank you. I assume if I look like a hot actor. Anyway, feet changes. If you could change your feet, would you? You start off, you get a free feat at level 1, right? Which they're already doing in 1D&D. Everyone's getting a feat at level 1. A feat, for anyone not familiar, is basically it's a feature. There's a list of features, feats, that you can have access to, and generally you gain. They're optional, but everyone uses them. You generally would get access to them when you would get an ability score improvement, which is around level 4-ish, but this gives everyone one at level 1, which gives you more customization, which is a lot of fun. Additionally, when a character would receive an ability score improvement, they also get a feat, right? So you get both whenever you get an ability score improvement. Normally you'd have to pick either an ability score improvement to increase your stats, or you pick a feat to give you a cool feature. And this is kind of contentious and frustrating. This lets you to take both. Feels good. You have more customization. And this actually leads people to, more often than not, pick feats that are more flavorful rather than the power gamey ones, right? Backgrounds. This is basically rules is written, just writing out the ability to customize your background. This is in the game. This is normal. This isn't different or anything. This is literally just how you customize backgrounds, but it's written out to make it easier to understand. Here's the starting wealth for all the classes, right? You can take the average or you can roll for it. And then I also set a thing of like, if you're playing a homebrew class that doesn't have a starting wealth, we just set it at 100. At level 3, you get another feat, so you gain the ability to walk and run while retaining the hop movement type. Ability scores, I like to use standard array. I heard something. Huh. Anyway, standard array, which is just what ability scores you get. So basically, there are multiple different ways to decide what your player character's ability scores are at level 1. You can roll the dice. There's various different ways to roll dice and decide what your scores are, but the most common way is the standard array, which it just gives you a 15, a 14, a 13, a 12, a 10, and an 8, and you place them in what ability scores you want, right? You can also use the point buy system, which has like a... Here, I can like take it to the calculator. There's a calculator here. Be like, okay, I have 27 points to spend. I can pump my dexterity, right, by 2. That costs 2 points. 3, 4, and I think if you go to 13, okay, if you go to 14, it costs 2 points, and 15 costs 2 points as well. And you can't go any higher than 15, right? That sort of thing. And you increase this until you get like to 27, and that's right. And you can get standard array with point buy. Right, you get standard. You can get a 15, a 14, a 13, a 12, a 10, and an 8 with point buy using that calculation, right? Yeah. So it's not like different or anything. It's just standard array is simple, and you can point buy if you want to get specific numbers. I kind of like letting them use the elite array. That's fine. That's fine. Generally, it helps people out, especially helps the MAD classes, the multi-attribute dependent classes. That's fine. I mostly just go for standard array because oftentimes I'm like the players are getting more feats, so they're getting more half feats, which also increase ability scores. They're getting ability score improvements at 4, 8, 12, 16, and 19 in classes every time because they're getting that and a feat, so it's never like they're missing out. And also, oftentimes I'll give people boons that might increase the score by 1 or something, right? So basically, I find that if you start people lower and with less things, it's more comfortable to be able to give them more as bonuses, right? And I like to give my players really cool magic items and really good bonuses, let them get a bunch more knobs to tweak. It's a lot of fun that way. But yeah, there's no real problem with letting them start with more points. One of the guys on my campaign rolled for his points unsupervised and happened to have a minimum score of 17. So if you're going to roll, my recommendation is for the best way is obviously you have everyone there and you have everyone roll 4d6, so 4 6-sided dice, and then you drop the lowest of those. So you have 3 dice left, right? And then you add up all those and you do that 6 times. So you have 6 numbers now, and that is your array, and everyone has rolled an array, and then everyone decides together which array we get to use. Either everyone will use the same array, or everyone can pick one of the arrays that someone has rolled. So everyone has access to the same numbers and can work within the same sphere, right? I have a bad tendency to overtune by accident, so I try to let players get slightly more power than default just to be safe. You'll see here later in this, I don't balance things as well as I should, and I allow my players to get creative, and oftentimes I can hit like above the weight class and hit really hard, but I try to let my players get creative. Like I'll overtune things because I have the expectation that the players will try to do something to make something easier, right? Oh, this enemy like will kill you in 1 hit. What do you do? I throw my dagger at the chandelier, right? Like I want them to be in a situation to like have to think outside the box every now and then. Standard, no, I'm built different. They're all built different. Standard would be everyone has like 10s or less. Yeah, standard array is standard for adventurers, right? Anyway, playtest content. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast stuff is allowed implicitly, but there are a few banned things which are later in the document. This is mentioning the D&D Beyond thing. If it's on D&D Beyond, that doesn't necessarily mean it's official Wizards of the Coast content. It might just be put there by them and like licensed by them. That's not implicitly allowed. You can ask me about it. I'll probably say yes, but like I need to know about that. And then Kibble's Tasty and Laser Llama stuff. This links to their stuff. Hey, oh, you can use their class content specifically. And anything else, you have to just talk to me. If you want to make shit, you want to homebrew something? Awesome. Let's talk about it. I'd love to see it. Racial changes. General. Races don't have their racial ability scores. Everyone has a +2 and a +1 or 3 +1s. Except for human base and custom lineage plus. And I'll talk about that. So the baseline human, which has a +1 to everything, doesn't replace it with these things. It just has a +1 to everything. And custom lineage plus. So I don't allow human, the variant human, and I don't use custom lineage. Don't allow those. Human variant, generally it's unnecessary because take baseline human and you get a feat anyway at level 1, so there's no real need for it. You could run it because a variant human is basically what if I had a human and then they had a feat as their class feature, right? Because it's a class feature, right? And then getting another feat is not a big deal, it's fine. But generally I sort of swipe away because it feels more power gamey than anything, but you could run it, that's fine. It's one of those things where I don't see a problem with it really. And I don't use custom lineage because let me get to the right thing here. There we go. Because I have a whole system built in where you can build a new race with a bunch of features, right? With a point-based system, a 5-point-based system. The max, the best stuff is 3 points, right? Shit like that. It used to be much bigger, but I consolidated it a lot. You can build whatever race you wanted to, and it works pretty well. It's pretty cool. Hey, T-Bird, thank God you allowed weenies, otherwise I would have to leave. I love you. Hopefully you're doing well. All weenies are allowed. You know, originally we didn't allow weenies. It was a very dark time in this chat.
I love you.
But yeah, if you want access to, I'm not gonna go over the custom lineage stuff explicitly, but the custom lineage plus, if you wanted to look at it, feel free to click on that link and scroll down to the racial change section, and there should be a link here, you just click on this, and it will link you over there. What the fuck is this? there's you click on that, it'll take you there. Yep, that's racial changes, class changes, Artificer. I present Laser Llama's alternative Artificer and its expanded document. You may use either this or the official Artificer, this or the real one. All material within a document, spells, feats, etc. are allowed even if you don't play the class, as long as you meet the prerequisites. So like these introduce like a bunch of extra feats and stuff as well. That it's like, oh, this would work great for the alternative Artificer. But you can use them even if you're not playing it, as long as you meet the recs. And also Kibbles Tasty has the Inventor, which was started out as like the Artificer before the Artificer was introduced into 5th edition, right? So it was like it was its own thing. That's also cool, and that's basically true for all of these classes here. The Barbarian, the Bard, the Fighter, Laser Llama has like an alternative version of these things, and they're really cool. Or you can play the official version too. I'm fine with that. They don't completely replace them, but you can. They're all allowed, right? Multi-classing allowed. You could ignore the ability score requirements. Generally, they don't really seem that necessary. They're not really that necessary. They limit you on your ability to multi-class into and out of a class. Most people don't know that. So it's really, if you want to make something weird, you want to make the Barbarian, it's a lot easier when you remove this. So yeah. This is a thing, you can't multi-class in the alt fighter and the regular fighter, the official one. Like no double dipping there, but you know, it's fine. Encumbrance, generally no. I don't really feel the need to police encumbrance. Basically, everything has a weight, and you gotta like keep track of all the little weight, and once it gets over a certain point, then you slow down. For the most part, as long as it's not like a boulder, you're not putting the boulder in your backpack. Fighting styles. It opens this up and limits it at the same time, but there's no need to go over there's no need to go over everything. We'll just go over the interesting parts. You can look over this document in your own time. If you have any questions, feel free to message me and ask about it, and I'll let you know if it's whether this is like something I really like. Yeah, no, I stand by this, and you should run this because of X reason, or if it's like, yeah, no, this is mostly for me. I feel like it's this way, and there's the reason I do this, and but you could probably not run it, and you'll be fine, you know, that sort of thing. But what if it's a nice boulder? Then you're gonna have to start pushing. Hit dice, you get all of your hit dice back, and this is a fun one. Whenever you level up, so in 5th edition, whenever you level up and take up a level in a new class, you gain a hit die from that class, right? Which is a die with a certain number of faces. For instance, the fighter gets a D10, a 10-sided die, a hit die. The wizard gets a 6-sided die. The barbarian gets a 12-sided die, right? And this is a hit die, which you can use whenever you take a short rest. You can roll it, add your constitution modifier to it, and you can regain hit points, right? That sort of thing, right? And you expend it, and it comes back when you finish a long rest. Ugh. So the more meaty frontline classes have bigger hit dice, right? However, when you level up, you also are increasing your maximum hit points, and you do so by rolling the hit die of the level of the class you just took, and adding your con modifier, constitution modifier to it, putting those together and increasing your maximum hit points by that. This can lead to situations where you have to choose, do I want to take the average? Because you have the option of rolling or taking the average. Take the average, you get the amount, right? There's no chance for you to get a bigger amount, it's just that. But if you roll, there's a chance you'll get a bigger one, but there's also a chance you'll get a smaller amount, and that sucks, and that's a permanent change to your character. So all I really do is, you always roll, but if your roll is lower than the average, you take the average. And there's a whole psychology reason as to why I set it up to work this way. Literally just removing the bad aspects of the outcome, like the unfun aspects of the outcome. It's literally just a psychology thing, 100%. But I do stand by this, and I think this is a good idea. So yeah, I would recommend that you do this. Anyway, ooh, this is my favorite mechanic. This is my favorite thing I do. Introducing inspiration and bribing the DM. My favorite thing I do. And I think everyone should consider using this and trying it out and seeing if they have fun with it. So first of all, inspiration is a mechanic in the game normally, and what it is basically, if a player does something cool, the DM can give them inspiration, right? Which lets them basically they can choose to expend that point of inspiration to roll something at advantage that they normally wouldn't roll at advantage, right? This change makes it so that you can roll it. You basically can re-roll a roll instead of just giving something advantage. You just re-roll the roll. You can do it after the fact. Normally you have to do it beforehand. This lets you do it after the fact. This is not the thing I like. You can do that. That's one use of inspiration, which everyone gets inspiration at the start of the session. That's also a change. Everyone at the beginning of a session gets 1 point of inspiration and loses all their inspiration at the end of the session. So you have it and you kind of want to use it. The cool thing you can do with it, instead of just giving yourself a slight benefit, if a player can escalate a situation to the extreme, when a player attempts to do something they want a little more dramatic flair, they can expend a mode of inspiration to personally invoke the rule of cool, bribing the DM and ignoring minor rules of the game, physics, or even reality itself. So, for example, if the barbarian says, hey, that dragon who just picked up the princess and is flying away and is like 100 feet in the air, can I like jump up and grab onto him? The DM would tell you, no, not really. Unfortunately, see the jumping rules, you run 10 feet and then you jump vertically like 3 plus your strength modifier, so like 8 feet for you into the air. You can't reach that. And then the player's like, what if I bribed you with inspiration? And the DM says, yeah, sure. Okay. Go ahead and roll me an athletics check. And they will roll the athletics check, and if they roll well, maybe they land on the dragon's neck and can start punching the dragon, which causes it to crash land nearby, right? And it succeeds, and it has the princess in its claws, but now like the dragon's not flying away, and it would need some time to take off again, and now the party is fighting it on the ground. Or maybe he rolls really poorly and he barely grabs onto the tail, and now he has to like make several checks to climb to the dragon's head to eventually knock it down. And when he knocks it down, now he has to fight the dragon far away from his party. And he has to survive for several rounds until they get there, fighting off the dragon. Right? So you still get the thing you want for the most part, but there could be some complications. And there's a reason why I do this. It's going to allow the collection of the boulder. Yes, if you wanted, can I put the boulder in my backpack? Can I put the boulder in my backpack? Oh, excuse me. I'm waiting for the ad to end, I'm sorry. Because I'm having a conversation with overwhelming amounts of ass. Oh, it's not just a boulder. It's a rock. Welcome back. Are you back? You back, ass? So inspiration's gonna allow you for the collection of the boulder. Yes, like, hey DM, can I pick up this boulder and put it in my backpack? No, I'm sorry. It's too cumbersome. Hey, what if I bribed you? If you find some like rope, you could tie it to your back, maybe. like it's literally written out that like, you might ask for them to do things, but even if they fail, it should in some capacity go their way. It can cause drama, and the reason I did this is because I wanted my players to have creative solutions to problems, but Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition specifically is a game about resource attrition, right? It is a game where the players get a bunch of resources and you as the DM have it as your job to attempt to take those resources away from them, to drain them. That is your job. And so you would have situations where here is this obstacle. How do you get past this obstacle? Well, I suggest solution A. And you're like, okay, make a skill check. And they make a skill check and they succeed. Cool, you circumvented the problem. And it costs you literally nothing. Right? So you become somewhat resistant to the idea of letting them be clever, because being clever lets them get past something without expending any resources. And that doesn't feel good. This gives them a resource that I can take from them while still letting them be clever and get past something, right? It's literally psychology to fix a problem with me. It's literally my problem. that I am fixing. I would like to use inspiration to actually deliver the Krusty Krab pizza. The pizza for you and me. Only if you sing the song while you're doing it. Yeah, it's literally just a solution to a problem that I make in my own head, and so far everyone loves it. So far everyone loves this little thing. And then they lose any points of inspiration they have. They generally can only have 1 point of inspiration, and they get it at the beginning, and I don't have to police it. Yeah. And then it's removed at the end of the game. So people have the incentive to use it for something cool. They don't want to like hold on to it as like oh, maybe I do want to hold on to it in case something cool happens. And then it happens at the end of the session too, where like, hey, we're approaching the 4-hour mark, and they'll be like, oh, I should just use it anyway so I don't lose it, right? I'll use it to give advantage to myself, right? Do you ever do things like if a party attacks a dragon for no reason, they are jailed for assault because dragons are intelligent life forms, and force a jailbreak campaign on them? There was one point in my first campaign, I think, where one of my players set fire to a tavern just because, to see what would happen, basically. They then were chased around the town by an angry mob. I think one of the Thieves Guild members that they had met before got them and hid them away. Then they went off to find a treasure. What was it? The Lion's Pride, I think it was called. The Lion's Pride treasure. So we kind of just went away from that for a little bit. Like, let everything cool down. Like, let's get out of here. I think the player felt bad about it, but it's fine. They're great. Now, we haven't had any attack the dragon thing, because mostly dragons, I haven't really had many dragons just hanging around. Here's the other mechanic that I really like, the take a breather mechanic. To put it simply, you have a new action called Take a Breather, and a lot of people use stuff like this. But basically, you can take an action to take a short rest. You gain the benefits of a short rest. And you can do this a number of times each day, equal to half your proficiency bonus rounded up. And I know some people who are designers don't like interacting with the proficiency bonus and don't like the fractions of the proficiency bonus. I get it, I understand, but I explicitly wanted to start out with 1 use and then have it turn to 2 uses for a majority of the game. It's worked out exactly how I wanted it. So, back off. The issue was that, so in older editions, you had characters who had encounter abilities. Basically, they had abilities that they would refresh and gain the use of again at the beginning of an encounter. And they were expected to have these at the beginning of every encounter because they would always get them back at every encounter. And in 5th edition, some of those abilities were turned into short rest abilities. So short rest, there are 2 types of rests in 5th edition. There are long rests and short rests. And a long rest takes 8 hours, and there might be some sleep in there, right? It's like you're bedding down for the night. You get all your spell slots back, you get everything back. Normally you get like half your hit dice back, but pretty much everything back. Get all your health back, all that. A short rest is an hour, and you are able to expend hit dice to heal yourself, and you also get some resources back, like monks get their key points back, fighters get like action surge and second wind back, some like smaller things, right? Problem is that those classes are built with the idea that you have access to those short rest resources pretty much every combat or every other combat. So you run into a weird situation where the party members who would benefit from a short rest don't want to take a short rest because they can't justify it narratively why your party would sit down for an hour and do nothing after a combat encounter, just eating sandwiches and doing nothing, right? It feels weird. Like, hey guys, I know it's really cool and intense and we're like riding the high of that drama. Can we stop for an hour? Like obviously in the game, you just say, oh, we stopped for an hour and it took like a second, right? But like narratively, it feels weird to do that. And short rests in the previous games, in like 4th edition, I think, were like 5 minutes. They extended it to an hour. So it feels weird. So generally, it's not that the rest of the party is saying, hey, we don't want to take a short rest. It's usually the person who wants to take a short rest doesn't want to impose upon the party. And so they're the kind of characters who don't get access to their class features and resources by social convention, which is a weird concept. So effectively, this allows them to have a little bit more control over getting access to their resources. And even Wizards of the Coast somewhat agrees with this, because they're adding into 1D&D a lot of ways for like monks, for example, to get back their resources to some limited degree, right? They can like once per long rest regain this many key points, that sort of thing. They're kind of doing this, but they're doing it like piecemeal. This is more of a general thing that everyone can do. And it's pretty cool. I have a tavern in my world that's run by a friendly ice elemental. It's basically a snow cone bar with a cute snow lady. Aww, that's cute. Death by social anxiety. Indeed, indeed. So far, this has worked out pretty well, and it's an action, so people can do it in combat, and it does fulfill that narrative role of, hey, my character is gonna, we just all got like beat up. My character in the middle of combat, as we're like facing down the dragon, is going to run away, get behind a boulder, and take a minute. Right? That thing in that movie where one of the characters like is running from like the fire-breathing dragon, gets behind a boulder, it's like, they're literally taking a breather. It's that bit. So yeah, and it's worked great. Now, the current system that we're running it with makes it so that they have a number of uses equal to their con modifier, and I've changed it to half the proficiency bonus rounded up, because that gives you less and doesn't let people sort of power game it, and doesn't incentivize them to pump their constitution specifically to try and like get a bunch of short rest material, like make their character much stronger. Right? This is supposed to help fix a problem, not create a new problem. So generally, I think this is a good number of uses of this here, and it's still, you can still take a short rest normally. You don't have to take a breather. Hey Nomad, how you doing? Yo, welcome in. How you doing? We're just talking D&D. We just went over the 44 awful D&D rules, if you've heard about that. The guy had some problems. And now I'm looking at my homebrew rule document. And we're talking about Dungeons and Dragons. We might do some Mass Effect later. We'll see. Do you do anything I don't like? I hope not. I hope not. I just, D&D is just 4 hours of my players kissing my feet, though. No, what do you not like? Hopefully I do everything that you do like. If you're curious about my rules document, !D in the chat will bring it up, and you can look it along with us if you want. Taxes. I don't make enough money from this to do taxes, unfortunately. Imagine Duck hosting a community campaign. Oh, man. That'd be so much work. Chat D&D when? Maybe we could do a thing, maybe not D&D specifically, but we might be able to do like a votes on like a choose your own adventure thing. It was rhetorical. I love everything I've seen you do. Aw, that's actually really sweet of you. Thank you. Thank you. Level advancement. Excuse me. I think I need to grab a snack or something. I got some Ritz crackers here. I'm good, because acid's starting to come up. Milestone. We do milestone. So there's a different, for anyone not familiar, there's XP and there's milestone. So the XP is what you'd expect, right? When you beat up a monster, your party gets experience points. You build up these experience points. Once they fill up a bar, you level up. Hey, cool. Milestone, it's a little different. Basically, you level up when the DM says you level up. I prefer milestone. And the reason is that EXP is just milestone with more steps. Basically, the DM tells you how many experience points you get. They're counting out the experience points. Once you get full, then like it could literally be like, oh, you fought that giant monster Goliath creature? Okay, you get 400 experience points. Oh, cool. I'm like 5 experience points away from leveling up. Oh, are you? Okay. Oh, look, another giant Goliath monster. Oh, so I get another 400 after I beat it? No, you get 1 point. Oh, okay. Oh, look, another one. 1 point. Oh, okay. Oh, look, there's a beholder. Half a point. Like, if you really don't want them to level up, You can divvy it out any which way you want. You're still just doing milestone with extra steps. So some people really like the experience. Some people really like seeing the bar of how much they're progressing. So I get that. But for the most part, I don't like that. So I just say, fuck it, it's milestone. I'll tell you when. And it's usually after, like early on, it's like pretty much every dungeon, right? They level up, but then like past level 5, it's like every other dungeon. DD with chat would be absolutely terrifying. I cut my teeth originally DMing for a group of like 8 people. So I went in hard and I got it. But like, yeah, no, even 8 people of you lunatics, I don't know. I feel like we'd go off rails quickly. It would be extra fun, yeah. Milestone is when your character has their sweet 16 and can now legally open carry bludgeons in Waterdeep. Aw, you got me a fire sword. It's got like a pink bow on it. Thanks, Dad. And this just reiterates the ability score improvement that for ability score improvements, you get an ability score improvement and a feat when you get that, so. Helping, this basically just says that if you're gonna help someone, I would prefer you describe instead of just saying I help them, like let me know how you're helping them. If multiple people wanna do something, we might do a skill check, like a group check, or I might say no if it doesn't make any sense for multiple people, like a lock-picking check, for instance. How do you have multiple people working on a single lock? You don't. You can't really help. Also, generally my favorite way to play, if there's one thing I hate in D&D, it's trying to manage the easily forgettable parts of my character. So to be honest, I love it when the DM just says, nah, you level up when I say so. It's just, some people really do like that, like the little minutia of keeping track of that. Some people really do like that. Speaking of which, up above, I believe there was an ammo, yeah, ammo. Effectively, I'm just saying here, I think that could be really cool to keep track of ammo if you wanted to make that a thing, like where you're like, hey, DM, this quiver can hold 20 arrows. I'm gonna keep track of my ammunition. I need to regain them. I wanna do a thing. I'd be like, yes, okay, well, we'll roll dice. We'll see how many you gain. If you have to carve new arrows, if you buy new arrows, you wanna keep track of that. Some people really like that management aspect. But generally, I'm not going to ask you to manage ammo. I assume you have bought 20 or 100 arrows for like 5 copper or whatever they cost, and you're good. Right? There's no need for me to police you. I assume it's fine, and you don't have to keep track of it either. It's whatever. Burned popcorn, no! Ammo count would be kind of cool if you're playing someone with an actual gun. We'll get into the gun rules, which are very simple here. But yeah, no, like counting bullets could be really cool. I only got 3 shots left, right? That could be really neat. Absolutely. But if it's opt-in sort of thing, right? Generally, we won't police it. It's more of an opt-in sort of thing. I shot my arrows at Ultron. Okay, you got anything else? No, I did my part. Got mine. Items. So potions, like drinking potions, generally take actions in the official game, and a lot of people like to do the homebrew rule, where drinking a healing potion takes a bonus action, and this lets you drink them in combat a little easier, because you generally use your action for things like attacking or doing something specific, right? And bonus actions, generally you don't have a bonus action unless you have something that does a bonus action thing. Right? So oftentimes it goes unused effectively. So having a potion, you can get, and then go do something, right? That's a homebrew rule that people like to do. I used to run that, but then I changed it a little bit. I make it so by default, drinking a potion is an action. Any potion is an action. But you can also buy an item, a potion belt. It's like 25 gold that you put on, and while you have it equipped, drinking a potion is a bonus action. Right? It's basically the same thing, but it's a little more, it feels better, right? The players are buying a class feature. They are buying a feature that feels good. It's like, oh, I'm upgrading my character. And I feel you guys should consider that more often. Instead of like upgrading characters like by default and fixing things, right? Consider, hey, if you get this thing and do this thing and spend this gold, you can upgrade your character to get rid of this detriment or do this thing, right? Get this special ability. It feels good that way. Roll for side effects. So in Dungeons of Drakkenheim, my nose is getting red because it's really itchy. I very, very itchy today. I don't know why. In Dungeons of Drakkenheim, there's a potion maker guy, and he makes like corrupted potions. And every time you drink them, if you roll, you have to roll a d20, and if you get a 1, you get a level of contamination. You're just like, ah! You start turning into a mutant. So it's a really cool thing. You should, if you're gonna do that, I would recommend upping the roll like a 5 or lower. But yeah, it could be pretty cool. Extreme hyper focus. So potion belt, and then we also make it so if you drink a healing potion as an action, you don't have to roll the hit points. You get the maximum amount, but if you drink it as a bonus action, you roll, right? So you get you could potentially get less out of it. You most likely will get less out of it if you roll it as a bonus action, but as an action, you get the full healing effect out of it because you're like savoring it. You're letting the juices flow into your mouth and gullet. Pretty neat roll. I'm glad you like it. A lot of these rules I've like grabbed from like certain Reddit posts and I've tweaked them a little bit. So community has really thought up some stuff that's very clever. A group did a homebrew where we spent an entire day doing various amounts of drugs just to see what they all did. I did have that at one point. I did have something like that at one point where my party got access to a bunch of like different colored magic mushrooms, and they did different things like I think one like made a character translucent or something, or one made a character talk backwards. Goofy shit like that. One made a duplicate, like a silly duplicate of the character who like made fun of them. Like, you ate the mushroom and it made like a secondary duplicate of you. Probably go, look at me, I'm just this guy. Dumb shit. Have I ever given players a health potion mimic? Oh no, those things are awful. I haven't done that yet. The little red bug thing, you try to pop it, it goes. Ah! One that turned a barbarian into a house plant. Ooh, yeah, the wild magic chart. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference. They're a lot of fun. Oh no, not again. So weapons. Generally, if you want, you can. Kibbles Tasty has a chart, a little built-in system that you can use to make weapons. So, for instance, if you wanted to make like a saber or a katana or a chain whip, for those examples, you can use his little system to like add and subtract damage dice and build a proper version of that weapon. Because oftentimes people will like want the rapier, but they want it to do cutting damage. They want a saber. That's not in the game, so you have to like change that. You have to like work with the player to build the. It's like you can just. I have people can use this, and it just works, right? It works out the gate. You can go ahead and use that. Another one made our artificer move around, but only by doing backflips. Oh, so it's like the wood grain rain from Dark Souls. You can only do flips. Cute. Did they have to make any acrobatics checks, or were they just really good at it? Firearms, we simplified firearms. They're just crossbows of the equivalent. So like a hand crossbow is a small gun like a pistol, light crossbow is like a rifle, and a heavy crossbow is like a cannon. And proficiency with crossbows translate into proficiency with firearms. So this is basically because a lot of people want to use the guns. They want to be the gunslinger. They fell over a whole lot. Perfect. They have to go by backflips. Doesn't mean they're good at it. I see. So a lot of people want to use guns as like the aesthetic, but they don't care about the power. And the guns in the DMG and the Dungeon Master's Guide are very strong. For example, a great sword, big old sword, big heavy sword does 2d6. That's 2 6-sided dice worth of damage. A pistol, a revolver, does 2d6 at range. The rifle does 2d10. These things get kind of nuts. They do a lot of damage. So instead it's just, hey, you want that aesthetic? Yes. Okay, mechanically they work like crossbows. It makes it so I don't have to police people who want to use guns and be like have that like implicit or not implicit thing of, hey, I want to be a gunslinger kind of guy. Are there guns in your setting? Yes, there are guns in my setting. Yes, you can use guns. Here are the rules. Because that's another thing, is like asking the DM, Mother May I want to take some of that out. That was also a reason for the take a breather thing, is to get rid of some of the Mother May I. Never seen so many 5s in one session. Isn't it weird how that happens? I think our last session we got like a bunch of 17s. It was just 17 after 17. Sometimes the numbers just gravitate. Armors, I introduced tower shields and bucklers. Tower shields are like a +3 shield instead of a +2, but they're cumbersome, and so when you have it donned, you're like not good at dexterity rolls, ability checks and saving throws, but you can use it as like 3/4 cover, right? that sort of thing, or rather, you are treated as 3/4 cover as opposed to half cover, because creatures are treated as half cover against things. Not sure if I mentioned yet, but I just remembered how now. Hope your back is feeling better. It's okay. So Greens, funny you should mention that. My back doesn't feel great. It's all right, but yesterday we had to clean the yards. So I went around in the backyard picking up dog doo-doo, which required me to bend down a whole lot. But instead of using my back, I was squatting with my legs, and so the inside of my thighs are on fire. And my back is also not great. So that, and Very Mama, God bless her soul, learned how to use the lawnmower. So she mowed the backyard and the front yard, and she did an excellent job. She also edged too. She edged the grass. We had our little edger, so she edged the grass. Looks pristine. Yeah. Normally I'm the one who does it, but it also is it's a little killer on my back, so she did that for me. I like the idea of guns being really rudimentary guns unless they're specifically upgraded inside the campaign. I think it adds a real nice feel of progression. So, funny thing, there was actually, in my setting in Kthredia, a little bit of background, which I understand I am basically talking about a dream right now. Thank you. Thanks for mowing that lawn. Aww. Very Mama just came in with a nice, lovely snack. Loving grilled cheese. Loving the grilled cheese. Yeah, I know basically when you talk about your setting, you're basically, hey, this dream I had is really interesting, and it's out. I don't care, right? But stay with me here. My setting, Kthredia, effectively, there are 3 major gods, and they're not like more powerful than anyone, they're just the most obnoxious. There's the lion, the serpent, and the ogre. And in regards to the ogre that lives, his land is Vish Vulcan, it used to be this big industrial land that like wasn't very like militaristic, but sold weapons and whatnot all around. And one of their more popular items that they sold were firearms. The Vish Vulcan finger, for instance, was it's a pistol, and they all the different guns that they sold had like this glowing orange ichor inside of it, right? And it gave it like a little extra fire damage. And the thing was, where did this ichor come from? Nobody cares, because it makes the gun go boom better. Ichor was the blood of the avatar of the ogre. Each of the gods have an avatar represented as a person who they've blessed effectively to have some sort of influence and power in the world. The avatar of the ogre was this guy who was captured, rigged up, and they were effectively drawing his blood and making him super weak and using his blood as like firearm juice. There was the night the wall fell, where the Blackwall family, which is like the oligarchy family that was in charge, was removed from power, and they freed him, the avatar, and it caused a whole bunch of chaos. That entire industry fell. It's now Mad Max basically all over Vish Vulcan. There's gangs and shit. It's like 200 years later. It's nuts. But basically, yeah, literally firearm juice. They literally like would pull it from his arms. Firearm juice. That was supposed to be in like the original campaign. That would be something that the players discover and interact with, but they didn't do that. That's fine. It never ended up going that way. But that was one of the twists, right? Was that, oh, the avatar that they're showing is a scientist, and he's a fake. The real one is the one that's underground, and they have to like free him, right? There's a whole thing, but in that sense, firearms were like inherent to the setting, one part of the setting, and they were very noticeable and distinct and unique. Speaking of your family, are you guys excited to receive the Queens of Bingus? They're gonna be here very soon, in less than 2 days. It's exciting. Oh, very excited. Anyway, enough of me gushing about Kthredia. Let's go back to me gushing about my rules document. Flanking? No. No flanking. There's a rule basically where if you have an ally near you or on the opposite side of the enemy, you get advantage on an attack, and that's way too easy to get advantage. No, I'm not doing that. It's a cool idea, and a lot of people do it, but give like a simple +2, but I don't like to put like situational bonuses, because that gets out of hand pretty quick. Yeah, consistency. This is the thing I was talking about before. If I ruled one way on a matter in the past and I'm ruling differently now, I want you to tell me, because I don't want to be like trick you. I don't want to like be fickle. I'd like to keep things consistent. If I rolled one way, it's like, oh, then I'll probably roll the same way again, right? And unless there's a reason for it, right? Unless I actively change my mind and we can figure out, is this by accident or by choice? Also, this one's fun. If you roll the wrong stat in the virtual tabletop we're using, you don't just take the roll and move the numbers around. No, you roll again. You roll the right thing. I feel this is very important, and you should specify this. You should specify this session 0. If someone rolls the wrong thing, like if you're using a virtual tabletop or whatnot, right? What do you do? Do we roll again, or do we just take the number and move it? Very specific about that is very important. Duck be no trickster god. I'm no trickster god. Speaking of trickster gods, in Keith ready yet? No. I think flanking should only be allowed if the target is distracted in combat, and they do have a version of that in the form of like the help action, because you're distracting them and it gives advantage on the next attack roll, right? So that's functionally what that is. Traps, this is basically just defining what checks are what, and I think these are actually rules as written. Look, if you're looking for traps, it's a perception check, not investigation, it's a perception. And disarming traps is just dexterity, straight dexterity. If you have proficiency in thieves tools, then you can add your proficiency. Conditions, the invisible condition is poorly written. Basically the way it's written, even if you have a spell called like see invisibility on you and you can see someone who's invisible, the person who's invisible still gains the benefit of being invisible to them. So the spell does nothing because of the way the condition is written. This just fixes that problem. And here's Strain. Strain is the exhaustion replacement. It's similar to the one that they put in the UA, which basically instead of exhaustion, anywhere you would get exhaustion, you get strain instead. Strain is a stacking -1 on your ability checks, attack rolls, saving throws, and your spellcasting DC. It's much more easy to put it out there, right? Much more easy to just give it to the player. Oh, you did a cool thing and failed? Okay, then you did the thing you wanted to do, but you get this many instances of strain. Cool. You can fail them forward very easily. You can have it as a detriment, what have you. It's really cool. They can get rid of it, all of it, by finishing a long rest. And then there's like some consumable items you can use to like lower it. Like maybe there's this root they can find where if they eat it and they have more than 2 levels of strain, they can reduce their strain by up to 1. So it can't bring it down to 0, but it can lower it a little bit, right? That sort of thing. So this is much more applicable as opposed to exhaustion. When you apply exhaustion, it's like, okay, you don't get to play the game anymore. You don't get to play anymore because you're exhausted. Oh, then I guess we all have to stop. Because that's usually what ends up happening when people have exhaustion, is that the whole party's like, okay, we can't go on. Because this player now cannot play the game. We now have to stop and rest and get rid of it. People don't play with exhaustion. They say, when can I rest? After just doing a campaign of, hey kids, do you like touching red rocks? I have a love-hate relationship with exhaustion. It's just too debilitating. It's just too debilitating. For the most part, applying 1 or 2 instances of strain at a time is a nice like way to like punish someone, but not like make them not able to do anything. Never rest. Spells. General change, when you get a spell, if you want to change the damage type, you can. So like if you learn Fireball, you can change it to Acid Ball or Cold Ball, that's fine. But it is that from now on. It's not, you can't then decide, oh, I'm now gonna cast Fireball. No, you know Acid Ball, you know Cold Ball. But if you want to change it for like a theming thing, sure. For like a benefit to a mechanical thing, sure. You have like the thing that makes it so you could ignore fire resistance, or so you can ignore like thunder resistance and you make everything thunder based. Sure, fine, fuck it, yeah. Absolutely. Catnap, duration changed to 1 round. I think Catnap was you pick a number of people and they go to sleep for like 10 minutes and then they get the benefits of a short rest. It's kind of mediocre because short rests are like, if you can rest for 10 minutes, you can rest for an hour basically. So I just changed it to a 1 round thing. So it's like a wizard can in combat knock out a friendly ally if they say yes. And they can get the benefits of a short rest. And this is usually used if everyone's done to take a breather. No one's going to use Catnap anyway. I just thought I would do that, right? Do we know Men Butt Crack Ball? Testicular Torsion Beam! Yeah! I cast endometriosis! Ah! Counterspell is changed to, you just make them make a con check, a concentration check. If they fail, then they don't cast the spell. They lose their action, bonus action, reaction, whatever they use to cast it. And they don't waste the resource. They don't waste the spell slot or the use of the ability. And this doesn't limit them, so if they try to cast Fireball and you counterspell it, they can Misty Step because there's the bonus action roll. They could do that afterwards. I cast Jelly Bones. Oh no! Oh, look at me up. Jelly Jiggler. Jelly Jam Jiggler, man. We fix Fine Traps to be like, I'm not gonna go into every little thing here, but like Fine Traps we made more useful. Finger of Death, we limited the number of zombies that you can have under it. Fireball, we reduced the damage because it's overtuned. Lightning Bolt, we didn't reduce the damage because it's not overtuned. It has a worse like orientation to it. Force Cage, we gave health. Hypnotic Pattern, we have repeating saves. Rave Enfeeblement, hold on, there we go. And then I need to Rave Enfeeblement and Sickness, we made them like work better. Remove Curse, there are major and minor curses. Major curses are like narrative ones, minor curses are like the normal curses. Tiny Hut's got health. True Strike is just advantage on a bonus action ability. Wall of Force has health. Weird gives advantage on attack rolls against the targets. Witch Bolt's better, doesn't suck. Wish, you can't pick Wish. You can't pick Wish. Do you have any rules on dual wielding? So dual wielding is weird. By default, dual wielding kind of suck. But you might not have been here for this, Nomad. But generally for classes, I recommend a bunch of Laser Llamas classes. They're alternative classes. And in the alternative classes, a lot of the two-weapon fighting style has been changed in their alternative classes to make the bonus action attack a part of the main attack. So like it's fixed in these. So for the most part, it's one of those things where it's like, and rather than me touching it, I'll mostly let the alternative rules that this person has put out supplement that. But for the most part, yeah, dual wielding remains normal unless you take the fighting style, in which case it completely fixes it, makes it much better. Learning that dual wielding is kind of lame in my current campaign. It's kind of lame. They are trying to fix that in the updated in 1D&D. They are trying to fix it. But as it stands, yeah, it was kind of underwhelming. It's a little underwhelming. Basically, I think they're changing it so like if you have like the fighting style, then you can when you take the attack action, you make an additional attack as part of the attack action. It doesn't take your bonus action. I have two Trickster gods. One is Dawn God, who has dominion over bright trickery like jokes and bewilderment. The other is Dusk God, who has purview of dark trickery like deceptions and plots. That's a really fun distinction, Cinery. That's really cool. Very inspired. Having like, because like, yeah, it's like, what is trickery? Right? I'm a trickster god. Ooh, I'm gonna hit you with a pie, and then I'm gonna literally stab you in the gut with a knife, with a kris. Yeah, like breaking that up is nice. But yeah, Wish is forbidden to be selected, but if your character wants to seek that spell out, it's like a quest spell. You would go and get that, right? It's not completely banned, it's just you can't pick it at 17th level when you're picking 9th level spells, right? Because it is legitimately the best spell. Wish has no competition. Oh, like once a day I can cast literally any spell on any spell list that is an 8th level or lower. Or alternatively, do anything I want at the risk of losing the spell. Huh. Most campaigns never get that far. No, this will almost never come up. Right? Yeah. The game gets broken way before Wish is a problem, but Wish is just like it beats every other 9th level spell. Like, yeah. Banned spells. We have spells that I don't allow. Spells I think are poopy. Yeah. Think about that. Oh, wait, I changed I need to get rid of Force Cage. Yeah, I added that recently. There we go. I ever think I've had a campaign that lasts that long? Yeah. Usually they fizzle out around level 9, 10, or 11, roughly around there. I cast Wish to become the DM. Oh, thank God, finally! What's your opinion on Silvery Barbs? Fuck that spell. In fact, we'll talk about these, but let's get to Silvery Barbs first. Dude, Silvery Barbs. Silvery Barbs is the great filter. Silvery Barbs is the great filter. Basically, if someone tells you that Silvery Barbs is not that bad, or that they don't see what the problem is, they are admitting that they don't understand this game at all in any capacity, and they're stupid. No, okay, that's mean. That's mean. But legitimately, it's an aspect of the game that they don't seem to understand, which is the saving throw aspect. So what does Silvery Barbs do? It is a reaction spell that when you see, I believe it's when someone does an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw. You can correct me if I'm wrong on this. You know, I'm just gonna bring it up. I'm just gonna bring it up here, so I can get the exact wording on it. Let's see. One reaction, so you cast this spell as a reaction when a creature you can see within 60 feet of you succeeds on an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. You make the triggering creature re-roll the d20 and use the lower roll. Then you choose a different creature you can see within range that you could choose yourself. The chosen creature has advantage on the next attack roll, ability check, or saving throw it makes within 1 minute. So, what is the problem? This is a first level spell. Let's say I cast, I don't know. Say I cast, how about Hold Monster, which is a spell that will paralyze you and hold you in place, and you can't do anything. And it's like, what was Hold Monster? Like a 5th level spell? Hold Monster is a 5th level spell. It will paralyze you, which means all attacks against you are made at advantage, and you are critical hits when they hit you, so they do big damage. Right? Oh, you succeeded on the Wisdom saving throw against my 5th level spell? No, you didn't. Reroll it. Do it again. Silvery Barbs. Boom. What you've done is you've effectively, for a 1st level spell slot, cast Hold Monster again. You turned a 1st level spell slot into a 5th level spell slot, and you've turned Hold Monster, which is normally an action to cast, into a reaction. You've cast it twice. Cast it once and it failed, and you saw it failed, so you cast it again as a 1st level spell as a reaction. It breaks the action economy. It's incredibly overpowered, aside from the fact that you can also use it to negate critical hits. So if you see an ally get critically hit, you'd be like, no, you didn't. And then on top of that, you then get to pick someone, which could be yourself, to get advantage on the next attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. So if you're up against a wizard, put saving throw, advantage on saving throw on yourself. He tries to cast a spell on you. Oh, I have advantage. So it's even harder. Silvery Barbs is fucked. But would it be as big of a pain point to you if it was a much higher level spell? Like if it was like a 2nd or 3rd level spell, it would be less of an issue. But the point still remains where you're effectively turning a lower level spell slot into a bigger one. And so it does like reduce the problem, but it's still there. And ultimately, I don't think it should work that way. So for the most part, I just ban it. There's a limit on how often you can cast Silvery Barbs. Once a turn, you get 1 reaction a turn, and you have a limited number of 1st level spell slots. However, once you get later in the game and you have these big spells, you're not using your 1st level spell slots all that often, because you're trying to, end the encounter. So you're not gonna cast like fucking Burning Hands for like, what, 2d6 fire damage? You're gonna cast Fireball for 8d6 fire damage. Right? You're not gonna waste your time with some like low level shit, so you're gonna have a bunch of 1st level spells left over. Why not turn those 1st level spells into, I don't know, another instance of Tsunami? I don't know. It's fucked up. Spells banned. I will die on this hill. Oh yeah, and it's an enchantment spell, so if you're like You're a fucking, what are they? Aberrant Mind Sorcerer, right? You can, like, cast this thing subtly as well for, like, 1 sorcery point. So, like, they can't even see you doing this. They can't counterspell you either. It's very strong. Like, it's competing with the shield spell, which is like the best first level spell. Anyway. Checking the current state of the monk class in 5e. Like in the official game, 2014, monk is a very fun, like, identity class, but it's missing a lot of, like, customization, like a lot of the martial characters. Damage-wise, like, its damage is only low, really, if you compare it to, like... I mean, its damage is low, but its damage is only really a problem low if you're comparing it to, like, great weapon fighting, polearm, barbarian, right? Like, if you're, like, min-maxing high damage, then it's kind of pathetic, because it really doesn't have any, like, feat support. But if you're just, like, playing and casual, its damage really isn't that bad. It's not, like, great, but it's not terrible. But then it has a lot, it doesn't really have much utility because it's just a dude running around for the most part. Which is why I do recommend Laser Llama stuff, because it's effectively everyone gets cool additional features that you can work with. It's really nice. But yeah, Monk has problems. Like most martial characters in the game has problems. Anything about group summoning spells? Yeah, it slows the game down. It slows the game down heavily, which I do mention here. Near the last one, we'll go through it here. But first, animate dead and create undead. I recommend summon undead because that, like, so animate dead and create undead, you, like, is a whole thing where it's like you summon you raise a zombie or whatever, and you're under your control for a certain number of days, and then after those days, if you don't cast the spell again, it goes rogue and you can't get it back, and it's just a rogue zombie now. And you can hold a certain number of them, and you have to constantly keep track of the spells, and it's kind of wonky. And so that's nice, but for the most part, this ends up being the necromancer who is running through the dungeon with like 12 skeletons, and it gets really clunky and like crowded, and it gets really frustrating for everybody else because you're just sending the skeletons through the dungeon and just letting them die and trigger all the traps, and it's like whatever. It like defeats, like it flies in the spirit of it, really. Played a Way of the Drunken Master in my last campaign. It was entirely useless unless I was using Pass Without a Trace. It's a problem. It's a problem. It's certainly an issue. But I would recommend, if you're curious about playing martial characters, and I just can't recommend their stuff enough, but Laser Llama's alternative classes are really cool. That was only there because it wasn't the class, it was your race that was giving you that. Animate objects. Oh, the thing about also animate and create undead, if you really wanted to make like zombies, like you wanted to be a necromancer and do that, that would be an outside of magic or outside of spell thing. Like you would, we would come up with a ritual for you to make zombies and skeletons and stuff like that, but it wouldn't be like one of your spells. It would be something you have to go get pieces for, and you'd have to magically induce it, and it would be its own thing, right? And you're making an army, and you're not bringing them through dungeon or what, like it'd be a whole separate narrative thing, right? It's not like, oh, you know, I have a whole bag of skeletons, here you go, attack my boys, like, maybe Dance Macabre, take Dance Macabre, that's fun, or Summon Undead. Make it simpler. Animate objects, it's kind of overtuned for the most part, and it's kind of wonky, but there's a version in the Level Up 5e, Advanced 5e, that like changes the numbers and makes it a little better. So if you really wanted to use it, we could use that, but otherwise the spell's banned. Conjure, we talked, Cineri, you talked about the Conjure stuff. Yeah, usually, so the way the Conjure works is you, the DM, get to pick. You get to pick what creatures are summoned, and that's really annoying to have to then like, okay guys, stop. Let me go get the monster manual. Let's see, okay, maybe like 3 of these things show up. Right? Like, it really slows everything down. Then you gotta put the tokens on board. It's a whole pain in the ass. And I'd recommend just doing Summon Beast to Summon Undead, whatever, the thing that summons a singular creature that you deal with. That's better than any martial character in the game. And if you really, really want like a horde of dudes, we'll make it a swarm, right? We'll figure something out. We'll do the summon undead or summon beast, and we'll make it a swarm. So like it's like instead of summoning one zombie, you summon like 6 zombies, but they're all considered like one creature and they do one thing. It's, yeah. Create spelljamming helm. This is a specific one for like the spelljamming campaign. If we're doing that, then it won't be banned, but generally there's no reason to use it in a campaign that doesn't have it. Same for Dream of Blue Veil. This spell literally just lets you jump to different settings. So there's no reason for that. So unless we're using it, no. Simulacrum, oh boy. This bad boy causes so many problems. What if I was able to duplicate myself with like almost all my spell slots? What if he could duplicate himself with almost all of his spell slots? What if that duplicate could... Simulacrum is banned. The music stop? What happened? It's just very low, okay. Brother was lucky enough to play a 1-20 campaign to completion, and his little monk made death saves at least once a session almost every time, and yet somehow managed to survive the whole thing. Well, monks get pretty good at like level 14 or so. They like get proficiency in all saving throws, which includes death saves. But yeah. What are we doing now? We're going over my rules document, Nutz. This is how I play D&D. I show you, these are the rules. Cinery asked for this a while ago, I think, and I wanted to share it. If you guys wanted to read it in your own time, !D, we'll bring it up. Went to the conversation, but somewhat related. I had a necromancer in a campaign who would only shout, "Rattle 'em, boys," when he would tell his skeletons to do literally anything. That's great. That's great. You fell for the skeleton trap, rattle 'em, boy. Why have you banned Simulacrum? Because the fucking spell's so broken. It's so broken. My God, Nutz, have you not heard? It's so broken. Legitimately, it's really strong. My 44 rules? My 20 pages of rules. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. Just tweak the spell where Simulacrum cannot cast Simulacrum? No. No. I refuse. I'm just banning it. Listen, if the player really wanted to cast Simulacrum, we would work to fix it. But yeah, like, outright, no. I'm back. Can we go back over the document again? Sure. All right, starting at the beginning. This is the 5e live document for 2020. No. There are ways. So that's all the spell stuff. And a miscellaneous change is so the way this works, if you throw a smoke bomb at your feet, right? Or if you're in a smoke cloud or whatever, and you can't see your target, but they can't see you, we have a weird interaction. So if you can't see the target you're attacking, you can attack them, but you do so at disadvantage, which means you roll 2 d20s. Instead of just 1, you roll 2 and you take the lowest number, the lower of the 2, right? It's harder. However, if the target you're attacking can't see you, then you attack at advantage, which means you would roll 2 d20 and take the higher number. If you have any amount of disadvantage or advantage, they all get canceled out. So even if you have like 100 things giving you advantage and 1 thing giving you disadvantage, they all get canceled out and it is a straight roll. So, shooting arrows blindly while you are completely blinded in a field of smoke at people is straight rolls. It's the same roll as if you had no smoke at all. Yep, it is a straight roll, which is silly. So all this is, it says if you can't see the target you're attacking and they can't see you, then you don't gain advantage. You make the attack at disadvantage. It's just you're unlikely to hit them regardless. That's all. It's just a small little thing. Just a little thing. Excuse me. Then I have a bunch of homebrew feats. You guys can look at those. They're fun. yeah, there's just some fun homebrew feats you can pick up. And then here's a link repository. Here's the links to all the stuff. Here's Laser Llama's main page, Kibble Stacy's main page, the specific classes for Laser Llama, the classes that they've made, the unique ones. These aren't just remakes, like the Magus and the Scion and the Savant. The Savant is very popular. And then Laser Llama also has made subclasses for the official classes, if you want to look those up. And Kibbles Tasty has also made some new ones. He has made his own version of the Scion and the Ward and stuff like that. And then he also has a casting compendium where he's made a bunch of new spells too. You can check those out. All right, that's it. That's the rules document, guys. That's the whole thing. That's it. You could all consider them having 3/4 cover. That wouldn't be a terrible idea. Although functionally, that is the same thing. So mathematically, disadvantage comes out to roughly a -5, which 3/4 cover increases your armor class by 5. So roughly around the same thing. I like using Dark Gifts on Van Richten. Probably get Van Richten, shouldn't I? You have any rules on how hard you can hit someone with a can of beans? That'd probably be an improvised weapon attack. I'd probably make it like a D4. Like it's improvised weapon, so it's a D20 plus your strength modifier. If you're throwing it, it would also be strength. If you're proficient in improvised weapons, which you get from Tavern Brawler, then you would add your proficiency bonus to the attack. If you hit, then you do your strength damage plus 1d4. Probably 1 or 1d4. I'd probably say 1d4 because you're throwing a can of beans. That's probably fun. I'll find this. I want to read. There's that link in the chat. You should have access to it. Because the way improvised weapons work, there's actually 2 kinds of improvised weapons. They don't really say this, but they imply it. There are 2 kinds of improvised weapons. There's improvised weapons that look and can resemble actual weapons, in which case you can just treat them like the actual weapon. If you grab a table leg, right, and you break it off, you can treat that like a mace. Or a club, I guess. You treat it like a club, right? And if you have proficiency with clubs, then this is a club and you can treat it like a club and you have proficiency with it. The second one is when the item does not resemble the weapon in any capacity. Like say you're picking up a vase and throwing it at someone. That doesn't resemble any weapon. In that case, it's an improvised weapon. It has the improvised weapon characteristics. You don't have proficiency in it unless you have Tavern Brawler. And the damage it does varies depending on what the DM says. That 1+ strength thing is only for unarmed attacks. The DM can actually decide how much damage arbitrarily that improvised weapon will do and what damage type it does. They can pick, and it can go like anywhere. You can say it's a D4. You can say it's like 16 D10. It's a very hard mace or vase. But yeah, it can go any which way. The improvised weapon rules are kind of weird. Party can of beans should at least be a D8. If it's made of metal, yeah. Oh. So yeah, you guys can read up on this anytime you want. It should be available in the chat. I might change some things, I might add some things, but generally this is the thing I run with. I'm also working on, I also have some other ideas that aren't in here that are like for my setting generally. Like I have the financial totems, which basically in the setting, there's like a banking system and effectively they offer a service to enchant an item that is dear to you to be your financial totem. And effectively you can use it as like what is effectively a bag of holding, but only for coins. And so it's like your wallet basically. But it only works for coins. They only accept coins. They're not gonna take jewels or anything, just coins. No, it's okay, Nidus. It's a mobile bank account. Basically, the only reason I did it was because there was that small thing nagging in the back of my head about how people are walking around with like hundreds of thousands of gold coins, and that's very cumbersome.
You big stupid jellyfish.
That's me. Hey, Unlucky 13th one. Good to see you. What about a jewel in the shape of a coin? Nah, they would see it. The bankers would see it and would reject it. No, get out of here. No. They don't deal in that shit because they don't want to they don't want money laundering. They don't want to be complicit in that shit. No, it's got to be coins, man. We're not gonna deal in the art gallery shit. No. Yeah, coin weight and coin size, it can be really cumbersome and awkward. And you don't, what if you don't want to give your party a bag of holding right away? Right. Anyway. Boom. Rich bakers who don't want to evade taxes. This really is a fantasy world. Well, they're handling the money. They're making a lot of money, right? Buying and selling shit, but they don't want to like get stuck by amateurs. How many inventory slots do you have in D&D? You generally don't have inventory slots in D&D, in 5th edition anyway. You have like an encumbrance system, and a lot of people choose to just sort of ignore the encumbrance system for the most part. It's more like a rational, would you be able to carry this in your backpack sort of situation. You can't put the boulder in there, but you could probably fit some rocks. About pieces of wood painted gold, very convincingly? Yeah, maybe. Just getting out of D&D? You just finishing D&D? We were talking about D&D for like 3.5 hours. we were going over the 44 D&D rules that person posted on Reddit and how they're insane they are. And then we also went over my homebrew document. There's taxes in D&D? There can be, but not necessarily. If you don't evade paying taxes in D&D, are you even playing fantasy game? Sometimes it depends. Like if you're a traveler, then you might pay taxes on like the goods you're buying. How much you can carry depends on how strong you are. My 20 strength fighter, funny enough, carries the least amount of equipment. Yeah, it's your carry capacity is equal to 30 times your strength score, which is the bigger number. And that's how much you can carry. And the amount you can, wait, no, sorry, it's 15. Yeah, your carry capacity is 15 times your strength score, and the amount you can push, drag, and lift is 30 times your strength score. I believe. It's been a while since I looked at the strength rolls. When I say push, drag, and lift, like there's rules for like when you can push, drag, and lift things, you have a limit to how much you can move. You're like, right? So once you're in that capacity, like you're like moving slow. You got to do a cool in D&D. What'd you do? What'd you do? I ask. The other thing, the other mechanic I've been working on is the hidden fund, which is, I'm not sure if I'll use it or not, but it was basically a means by which it's the assumption that all the treasure you're finding, there's an additional amount of treasure you're finding that you're not, like, we're not talking about, that you guys are putting away for later to spend on things like room and board for like in like a shitty tavern, right? So like we don't have to constantly nickel and dime how much is it to stay at the tavern. Oh, it's like 5 silver. Oh, okay. What if I persuade the barmaid to try and get a lower price? Pay the 5 silver, Doug. Ah, damn it. No, it's just sometimes we can ignore it. Pushing closer to making a D&D stream. Dude, my party has talked about that. Like, hey, do you want to stream D&D? And I'm sitting here like, you motherfuckers are not nearly as interesting as you think you are. I love you. But I don't know if anyone's gonna care. I don't know. We could try. We could do like a one-shot or something. And that's usually what ends up happening too, Cinery, is like by the like eventually, like within like the first couple levels, when after your first dungeon you got like 100 gold pieces, and a year's salary for a worker in D&D is like a gold piece or something, or that might be a month's salary or something is like a gold piece. It's like you just hand them that, they're like, oh, and for you it's like chump change, right? It just completely breaks the economy. The whole D&D economy is just Does Very Mama play? She does not. She does not. She accommodates, but she does not play. For encumbrance and living expenses, I'm comfortable just say you do it unless they're trying to pull some bullshit, like carrying a cannon. Yeah, basically until it's a problem, it doesn't come up. Your fighter used their grappling hook. You mentioned the grappling hook, yeah. As an improvised flail throwing spear. I hooked a Wraith one turn, and on the next turn we made contested strength checks. The Wraith got a nat 1, I got a natural 20, pulled him over to me, Scorpion style, using an action surge to attack the now prone undead with your scimitar, got a sneak attack, and killed the Wraith. That's really cool. You literally grabbed a ghost and stabbed it. That was rad. That was rad. You did a good job. And that's the thing too, Sinner. Yeah, people will have, oh, I have copper and silver. Who cares? Just put it all in gold. Make it the gold standard. I've heard turning it to a silver standard makes things make more sense, but no one's gonna want to do that. Take a new color commentary. Ooh, it's a dragon. That's not a dragon. It's a drake. Nerd? You fucking nerd? Ouch. Anyway. It would be nothing but nerd. It would be nerd all day, every day. Oh. Anyway. Yeah, with Darren Laws being here, maybe we do like a one shot, or maybe we do like a thing. We'll see. Nerds are the ones who are calling other nerds nerds. Let's be honest. Let's be real here. Got a new grappling hook 2 touches ago. It melted down from an idol to a god of protection. Ignores undead resistance and non-magical damage. Nice! That's rad. Got a magic grappling hook. That's really cool. It's terms of endearment. It's the image of that little anime dog girl. Like it's to the tune of that seagull meme where it leans back and goes, ah! But it's like the little dog girl going, fucking weebs. That's all you get, terms of endearment. Anyway, oof. Do I have anything interesting on? Ooh, Master Duel. You guys want to play Yu-Gi-Oh? No, sorry, they were advertising to me. I'm an easy mark. Good streamer. Thank you. So, tomorrow we're gonna be streaming as well, and I'm curious. What do you guys want to see? Can I get a poll in the chat? If there's a mod who's able to do a poll, do you guys want to see? You guys want to see Elden Ring? You guys want to see Mass Effect? Or do you guys want to see the Alan Wake DLC, which I think is out? The Alan Wake 2 DLC. The poll is up. Go ahead and vote. It's right over there. Thank you, Yo-Yo. Guys, get in there quick. Make your voices heard. I want to know what you guys want to see tomorrow. Calls you a dweeb? At least it's calling you a dweebenheimer. Worse. Tell you how cool my party is. I didn't even make a reference, but when I pulled the Wraith, the DM and the 2 party members shouted, "Get over here!" Nice. They know what's up. Get transported to a continent full of strange wildlife and giant spiders. Where could this be? Oh, what's this reference? All right, guys, it's half over. Make sure you vote. So yeah, Elden Ring, we're making our way to get prepared for the DLC, which is going to be out on the 21st. So we're slowly making our way to the end of the game to get ready for that. For the Mass Effect, we're making our way through the game. We're getting there actually. The game's not that long. I think I looked up. It's like 20 to 25 hours. It's really not that long. Was Alan Wake 2 any good? A lot of people liked it, Nomad. I actually really didn't. I think a lot of the writing in Alan Wake in general is very pretentious and doesn't say a lot. It says a lot without actually saying anything. But a lot of people actually really liked it. So looking at this DLC stuff, it looked really silly and actiony, and that might appeal to me more. So we'll see. You still have to play the cop in the DLC. I don't believe so, Ridge. From what I saw, you play as like the waitress with a shotgun. You play as the cop who gets like sucked in to. You guys can't hear this, can you? No. The cop who gets sucked into the night at the beginning. He's just like a secondary character. And you also play as the lady from Control. She actually shows up. I want to see Alan Wake 2 just to listen to you tear it apart. I'll probably get to it then, maybe next week. Can't stand the gameplay in Remedy games. I really liked Control. The board that the cops use to solve crap is the only part of the game I didn't like. I really didn't like it either. It really breaks up the pacing, and they want you to look at it all the fucking time. So Elden Ring won the poll. Mass Effect got 2, Alan Wake got 1. So, looks like we'll be playing Elden Ring tomorrow. Waitress with a Shotgun would make a great band name. It's pretty good. Just adding Shotgun. Blank with a Shotgun is a pretty good band name. But yeah, tomorrow we'll probably be playing Elden Ring. That was kind of the plan originally, but yeah, just making sure. So we'll be doing that. And then on Tuesday, we'll probably be playing the Alan Wake 2 DLC, and then Wednesday, probably going back to Mass Effect. I would have voted for Alan Wake 2, but I was asking questions first, so the other two would have been a tie. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna do all of them. It's just, what do you guys want to see like tomorrow, right? So I'm just lining that up. You can add in the sack, yeah, right? Just like reading a fortune cookie and add in the sack at the end of it. I love the first game because I was a kid and didn't really understand the writing, and then on recent replay I just super didn't care for it. It's mostly because Alan's constant, like I mentioned it, he's just like, I was trying to get out of the darkness, and the darkness was surrounding me, and I tried to get out of the darkness, and the darkness surrounded me, and then I almost got there, but I didn't get there because we're only 20% of the way through the game. But then the darkness, right? It's kind of just the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And it's not really saying anything. But a lot of people like the game, and they really liked the musical number. They like the music, which it's good music, but yeah. The abyss in my pants. Darkness, darkness, light. The darkness in the kingdom hurts. Do you think the light will be the darkness? I think the darkness will be the light. But yeah, like the police board was a huge like pacing killer in that game, and I wonder if they're gonna do it for the DLC. It doesn't look like it. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully it's just more like action and like running gun and do cool silly shit. Meg in my pants, Alien in my pants, The Fellowship of the Ring, my pants. I didn't get to show you guys this today, but I really wanted to. I didn't get to show you this.
That's a huge bitch!
I added one.
That's a huge bitch!
The coolest part of the Alan Wake universe is the Control game. It is. I really, really, really liked Control. The only part of Control I didn't like was the RPG mechanics, like the equipable different like stat upgrades for the guns. I feel like if they just removed that, it would be like like an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 game. It'd be a great video game. It still is a really good video game, but I feel that the constant little busy work with that is just dragging it down. Anyway. That is going to be the stream. We're going to have a shorter stream for tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to have a nice, long Elden Ring stream tomorrow. Tune in. Where am I? There you go, full cam. Boom. Tune in. And enjoy the sultry. Roll dice? Rolling dice. What die should I roll? Give me a die size. The first die size I see is the die I'm rolling. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20. D20? All right. Natural 1.
Shepard.
Natural 1. Look at that bad boy.
You big stupid jellyfish.
Got a duck in there. The best possible. So yeah, this is a shorter stream. We were gonna play a game, but it would only go for like a couple hours, and so I'd like to I'll keep that as its own thing. So look for the VOD tomorrow for the stream. Yes, the VOD will be up on YouTube roughly around noon Pacific time if you would like to see it. I have a Twitter account. I post where I'm going live, so if you want an indication of that, it's a great place for that. Just follow me on Twitter, and you'll get notifications of me going live. And then we also have a Discord. Again, I post myself going live on the Discord as well, so there's another place if you would like to get the indication there. But you also can get a hold of me or anyone else in the community on the Discord. So if you want to ask me any questions, I look there all the time. You can also send them to me on the Twitter, or you can send them to me on Twitch, but I'm less likely to see those, but I'll do my best. We also have, like I said, on the YouTube for the VODs, but we also have shorts that we're putting up. I've got another short that I have to do a little bit of editing on, and I'll put it up, and it'll be great, and we'll have a good time. It'll be funny, and you'll laugh it, and you'll love it, and you'll share it around, and everyone will know. Thank you. Yeah, we also have an Instagram where I post exclusively the shorts. So if you just want the content, just want the funnies, just want the laughs, it's a great place for it. Is the one centered over Duck's bunghole? Because that would be hilarious. No, I don't think it is actually, unfortunately. I think it's... Where's the one? Oh, it's close though. It's like underneath the duck. It's like right where its dong would be. Yeah, kind of see it. It's like right, like see, there's the duck's head, and he's normally supposed to be like that, right? It's like right there. It's like right there, right there. Scared for duck's thirst traps. I don't post thirst traps. How dare you? Don't heckle me, no. Okay. Goodbye. I'm not gonna play the outro thing. I'm gonna play the BRB thing, but we're not gonna BRB. It's gonna be the end of the stream. So thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the new BRB thing, but it currently is the goodbye. Oh yeah, we should raid someone. Who should we raid? Is there any raid commendations?
What the dog doing?
What is the dog doing? What is dog doing? Looking for someone to raid? Check out the new raid browser. Oh my god, the raid browser. I'll click on that. Oh my gosh, oh my goodness, there's so many people to raid. I don't know who some of these people are. No duck in the big blue house, not tonight, maybe tomorrow. Yeah, I'm just gonna not do that. Okay, let's see. We haven't raided Beans in a bit. We should raid Beans. Should we raid Shadow Legends? We're gonna raid Beans. I'm all beans. Raid. I'm all beans. Beans! Enjoy this, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Have a lovely night. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Talk about stupid D&D shit. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Okay.
I'll be back tomorrow. Goodbye.